Oh, hopefully you can all hear us. Don't know what just happened. OBS just decided to disconnect and reconnect. Anyways, good evening, everyone. My name is James Head. I'm going to be taking the stream here tonight for WOR Legacy Division. It is season number 4, even round number 9 of the championships, the Spanish Grand Prix. As I say, my name is James Head. Going to be taking to the stream as always. Jota is alongside me in the commentary box. Currently having technical difficulties, but we will get him in very, very swiftly indeed. You are not missing much. Drivers are on a set of intermediate compound tires. Yeah, as usual, he is having technical issues. But what we can do while Jota tries to fix those technical issues, and I can invite him back into the lobby, let's have a look, of course, at the repeat of what happened last week in France. Liam Bowman taking that race win, escaping up the road on the final 2 laps of the race. Matteo there in second, Tom there in third, Matthew there in fourth, along with Cameron Dowds in fifth, Flopman, Ryan, Raphael, Allison, Markadors top 10, then Renz, Nuth, Nico, Oxes, and Rayen. I will try and get Mr. Jota into the lobby roundabout now, but Jota, I'm going to come across to you. You are with me in the commentary box. Liam Bowman taking that race win last time out in France. Of course, we had China as well, which we'll cover a little bit later on. But Liam Bowman really put MVR on the map with that race win in France.
Yeah, exactly what Novus are looking for at the moment, aren't they, as well? They're trying the hardest to sort of really set the precedent that they are going to be a championship-winning force at the moment. And to be fair, they're definitely developing the consistency across the sort of board at the moment. Definitely the team that are constantly fighting for both of the drivers. We've got other teams that maybe are just focusing on the one driver in the race. So it is certainly interesting to see how they're developing their race strategies at the moment, because especially in France, you know, there was a precedent setter for Team Novus to run away with a 1-2, but an unfortunate disconnect in the end is what stopped them from getting that. So a little bit of sort of technical hitches on their part, technical hitches on my part tonight as well, as to be expected with a game of this particular standard.
Yeah, unfortunately. So Furious, by the way, just setting the lap time of 1:14.7. I'll actually take you out on track now just to see some of the action. That's if we can see the action. Do not know what is going on. So you prepare for everything and then you prepare to fail. I'll try and fix this while we go through. Might just need a deactivation and a reactivation of the Elgato. There we go. Now you can see the action out on track. Furious there was quickest. Belby and Rayen, though, coming in on a set of soft compound tires. They've gone quicker so far, 111.1, 111.4. We'll try and get Jota in just a moment. But we are here in Spain tonight. First time around here in Legacy Division, of course. Apart from qualifiers, Season 1. Season 1, the only time that we've had Spain. That was on the old layout. We're on the new layout, of course, here tonight for Legacy Division, and a track that I'm very fond of because it does produce some good racing. I've had an accident around this track as well, so I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, and of course, it's a circuit that's obviously had its recent changes as well. The very strongly disliked sort of area of that, what was it? I think it was the turn, is it 15-16 complex? I can't remember off the life of me actually now because it's been a while ago. Now removed, and of course, we've just old sweeping right-hander like the old days, which should have interesting racing, of course, because now everyone can closely follow each other. Straight into turn 1, it's going to be fun.
My OBS is just completely froze. This is brilliant. What a start to the stream this is, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, my game... Oh, there... What the hell is going on? I don't even know myself. But anyways, we're going to get on the track very soon indeed. I'm going to try and invite Jota if we can, so apologies about everything that is going on this stream so far. But we will get onto the on-track action very soon indeed. I will try and invite you though, Jota.
Yeah, no, we'll keep an eye on that one as well, because I'm currently in a position where I might actually be able to join now, which is a miracle to say the least, actually, because it's been a tumultuous time when it comes to the current setup at the moment. I'd love to know what's going on, but clearly it's just one of those days for technical hitches, isn't it? And it's something that we're both experiencing, so doing great nonetheless on that one. But, you know, going back on the action, you know, obviously it wasn't just the French Grand Prix last week, sorry, it was the full Chinese Grand Prix as well, wasn't it? And that was a tumultuous time as well, of course, when we saw Novus again trying to lead from the front, but, you know, late safety cars, you know, were a real precedent setter potentially in China. It usually is a force for that, but in the end, it was all about those front runners that really just powered on to what was a really intense race for what was a very long race weekend as well, of course. Two 35% races and two 18-minute qualifying sessions really does take it out on you, and I think drivers were starting to feel it towards the end of that.
We were certainly starting to feel it towards the end of that as well. We were absolutely cooked in terms
Yeah.
of the on-track action. We had both China and, of course, in France early on in the session. I think we totaled about 3 hours on that live stream last week. Hopefully not the same here tonight.
Yeah.
We will try and get Mr. Jota in alongside me in the Comtrox very soon indeed in the lobby. 2D, by the way, is on a lap time. Just going to note this lap on board with the TF10 man in toward the left-hander now, turn number 7, through the right-hander, turn number 8, and then towards my favourite corner on the track, a flat right-hander of turn number 9. Conditions overcast out on track, so it does mean that the soft compound tires might not necessarily be at their forte. 50.1 though in the middle sector. 2D definitely going to shut me up with that comment, as now comes in towards the right-hander, turn number 12 at Bank Sabadell, and then in towards the final 2 corners of turns 13 and 14 on board with the TF10 man, the Red Bull, on the run down the hill. Enzo, of course, his teammate, is not sending a lap time. He is on a lap right now. He's actually behind him out on track. 2D on the run to the line. Not sure go quicker than Belby. He does. 11 flat in the end. 300 clear even of Belby. Enzo on the run to the line. He now goes quickest than 2D. So Enzo out on top. 2D second. TF10 1-2, EPL 3-4. Not a bad session going on at all from the TF10 boys. And they have been quite strong around this track at other team events as well. So it will be interesting to see how they get on out on track.
I'm hoping someone will be able to invite me at some point, because I am looking forward to being part of this race. I am trying my hardest to get into the lobby, folks, to try and offer some kind of expert analysis on this one, or expert quote unquote. But it is, it is one of those sort of set of events now, isn't it? The Spanish Grand Prix, whereas hopefully, fingers crossed, be able to join in. The Spanish Grand Prix is the one that obviously is a real precedent setter for drivers, because it is one of those circuits that it's got a bit of everything. It's got your long sweeping right-hander at turn 3. It's got your short corners, of course, going towards in the second sector, and then, of course, keep an eye out on the straights as well, going through turn 1. And now with that long sweeping right-hander prior to the main straight, that's the main start-finish straight, it should start to get pretty intense when it comes to the racing. But long story short, we're finally going to be I'm finally going to be in a lobby to offer some kind of expert analysis in this one. So, Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia, I'm finally here. Let's see what we've got.
It's better than late than never. Better late than never. Always fashionably late is our Jota alongside me in the Comdrox, but it is absolutely fine. We're all good. Hopefully the stream is good as well. Hopefully you can all hear us okay. Hopefully the stream is running A-okay at this stage. And as is NVR right now. Smokey and Liam Bowman with that expert analysis from Jota coming in there. NVR went 1-2. Smokey and Liam Bowman there first and second. Tom on the run on a lap now. Should be around a 49.8 in this middle sector. 50 flat actually in the middle sector. So actually quicker than what Enzo and 2D were setting. So this is looking quite good from the Team Shazoo team. Looking good in terms of the stream as well, which is all good to hear in the chat. As now Tom runs down the hill in towards turns 13 and then through New Holland corner at turn number 14. Really close to the curb, is furious there. Jumps in between the both NVR boys on the run to the line. Tom nearly manages the same, actually. Goes fourth ahead of Enzo. Not a bad run at all from him. His teammate Ogween, of course, former Team Valor man, actually goes quicker than Tom by 300ths of a second. So looking very competitive early on. Around the 110.9, 111 flat mark. As soon as I say that, Matthew Hall's just came in with a 110.8 for ETA. Very, very good lap from him. Out on top, Martin on his return for the first time actually in Legacy Division that we're seeing him for TTM. He's there in 8th position. The former AOR champion back in the day. That takes me back.
Yeah, it always takes me back as well. Actually, they did a bit of commentary and did a bit of racing for that one as well. I think I also did a bit of coordination for that as well, if I remember correctly, quite a while ago though. Rens Thomason just on a lap as well. Yossi just tucking in behind as well. The F7R boys looking to try and set an early precedent. Will F7R finally be able to be huddled together, or is there going to still be that differentiator between the between their two drivers out on the field? Martin, though, on his return, always a pleasure to see his name back in the commentary. Oh, there's Rens Thomason losing it ever so slightly, going through 4. He's not looking comfortable there. Lock up on the outside going through 5. So I have a feeling here that Yossi might be just a little bit faster than Thomason on this particular set of corners. But of course, remember, this is a full qualifying, so the bottom 5 will be knocked out so far. As it stands, bottom 3 yet to set a lap time, so we're still waiting on other laps coming in. Of course, the NLR boys also on intermediate lap times. There is actually one of them just coming across the line, and Sepala just comes across the line to go 5th fastest with 11.01. Plenty of drivers in the 11.0s, by the way, as well. Really, really close between 5th and 11th as it stands at the moment. But Thomason coming across now the final couple of corners, mounts the curve ever so slightly. Be careful not to go in too quickly, because your car will bottom out of that corner, because it's a high-end curb at the end of it, and goes 3rd fastest with a 10.9, so close proximity of other drivers, but Jose looking to try and beat his teammate. Will he be able to get as close as Smokey? I want it, but it will be close, I think, but he's actually gone slower than his teammate. Really poor third sector, and he's on the brink, 15th fastest.
Yeah, let's just put... Oh, he's actually 16th fastest now because Ray N's just gone third as well for EPL. Good lap time there being set by the EPL man. Belby, I think, is on a run coming through Banks Aberdell at turn number 12 as well. Currently, Yossi is out of Q1 as it stands right now. There is still a little bit of time to go. Belby's actually not on a lap. He's coming back into the pit lane. But Yossi there down in 16th position. Just put it this way. A 111.1, which is normally mid-pack in most leagues, get you 16th here in WOR Legacy Division. That is how close we've got in terms of the grid tonight. That is how close we've got in terms of the track tonight as well in Spain. Matthew Hall out on top though, Smokey there in second, Rayan there in third. Matthew Hall and Smokey will be looking to try and lead on their F1 Esports Challengers battles on the Xbox side at least, and they'll be looking to try and get a very, very good mark out on track, as Rizza there has put in the chat. Veloce 1-2. Can you call them Veloce 1-2 even though one's a McLaren Shadow driver and now one's a part of ET8?
Well, one part of ETA, but I think he's on loan at the moment from the Veloce Academy, isn't he, Matthew Hall? So that'll be one to keep an eye out on. Lou coming to start his lap now, finally get off his intermediate lap, by the way. Just for context, 0.3 of a second separates you from being on pole, and, well, pole obviously in Q1, I suppose, first place in Q1, and being knocked out of qualifying. It's so close out there at the moment. Top 5 separated by less than 1/10, and less than a tenth and a half separating top 8. So Shazoo are hugging each other quite nicely at the moment, so they'll feel a bit more comfortable that Ogween and Tom are keeping within touching distance of each other. Frankis can't really improve at the moment, and he's 5/10 down in 19th for the Cedar Phoenix Igniters. And I'm just keeping an eye on Lou at the moment as he's just going through the second sector at the moment, through the left-hander. I don't want to keep it nice and tidy, nice and cool, nice and easy. Keep it off of the sausage curbs, then through the right-hander as he then goes down the first of the 2 DRS straights in Spain, as and then heads into the deep left-hander at the end here. Purple second sector, apparently. I don't think so, though. Wouldn't think so, to be fair. But imagine you have settled out, so it could be purple, actually. And going through then the final couple of corners, then obviously this long sweeping right-hander. Don't go in too early, as he avoids it nice and tidy, actually, going through there. Then hits the brakes ever so slightly, but keeps the foot powered, planted to the ground as he comes across the line right now. Wow. And does go fastest of anyone so far for the Bunga Racing team. 1:10.843 means the top 5 separated by just over a tenth, and the top 15 separated by now less than 0.3, 2 3/4 of a second.
Absolutely unbelievable. And Lou there out on top, he got that because basically nobody else was out on track. He got the rub of the green, he got the run of the race, he got the run of that lap as well. Very good lap time from him. 2D, I think, is not on a run. Was, I thought, on a run even. 51.2 though in the middle sector, but it's Lou out on top. BRT out on top for, I think, the first time in qualifying all season in Legacy Division, if I'm not mistaken, at this stage. May as well take a photo. Everyone else is in the pit lane. And Lou, to be honest, judging by how everyone's on the 111 flat, Matthew Hall, Smokey, Rayan might have to come out and set another run here just to try and be safe, because anybody improves from a 111 flat, a 111.1, anybody finds 0.2 of a second on their lap time, Liam Bowman, Furious Renz, Thomason, I'm looking at them immediately. They could be the ones in trouble if everyone begins to get into the 110.9s, maybe the high 111 flats as well. But it's Lou out on top, Matthew Hall in second, Smokey there in third. Let us know in the comment section who you are supporting there in the chat. Rene in the chat is supporting TTM. TTM at the minute not looking too bad. Furious there in sixth, former BRT man of course. TOL Martin, former WOR console Tier 1 driver back in the day as well. I think he's in Tier 2 if I'm not mistaken now. And former AOR champion down in 14th position as it stands. CPI Look, I think, is the first one out on track for CPI. Don't have to rely on, unfortunately, Igor Jelen or the qualifying goats that they normally produce. Gatkowski not here either. So it is up to CPI, but judging by CPI's performance so far, 1 in 13th, 1 in 20th, they have to try and find their lap times, especially Frankus there down in 20th. He needs to find a good lap.
Yeah, top 9 rather, sorry, or from 8 different teams, I think, if I'm right in saying as well. So really, really intense stuff out there at the moment with all of the track being offered to everyone as much as they can. Now, Smokey and Lou both think that they have qualified no issue whatsoever. 0.3 or less than 0.3, 0.276 seconds separating first from the knockout zone. So you think that it might be okay, but the are definitely going to fall down the standings. Rayan, by the way, impeccably quick driver for the Alpine Racing team as well. He's been a real driver in form in WOR, like I say, this season so far. But his teammate Bell Belby is going to be the first to set a lap time, though, in this final run as he heads through into turn 1. The Haas driver looking to try and get himself out of the brink of being knocked out at the moment. He is the driver, 0.276 seconds down on the fastest driver, Lou, as he keeps the car hugged actually closest to the inside line. So a curious line to take through there, but he is 0.04 of a second up.
I'm not surprised that Bell Belby's took that line, because it's my line that I take around here as well. Oh, and he's just nearly lost it there coming through turn number 5.
Nice.
I'd say at corner, real lock up down in towards turn 5. That'll lose him all the time now. In towards turn number 7. Hopefully he can gain a little bit of time. Coming out of turn number 8. Look fine through there. Now in towards the right hand of turn number 9. I have a feeling, though, he's down in this middle sector. Luke is not looking too bad as well in behind. He's just actually on a lap in behind as well. Bell Belby is down in the middle sector. That mistake very costly through turn number 5. CPI Look is coming to the middle sector split now, and he's 7/10 down, so he's not on a lap at this stage. Bell Belby very wide there, coming through Bank Sabadell. On the run now down the hill in towards turn 13. Now through New Holland corner at turn number 14. Right to the inside curb, loses some time on the run to the line. Bell Belby, has he done enough? No, he doesn't, and he stays 15th, and that is him in trouble for EPL.
Yeah, definitely. I think Yossi's definitely got more pace in him. Marlon almost certainly got more pace in him as well here. That's not a clean lap at all. Oh, Yossi on the grass, and that is certainly over and done with for Yossi, as F7R struggling once again with one driver out of the two of them. So Yossi gets on the grass, and no doubt his Sector 2 split is going to be absolutely horrendous, as we've got one of the Alpines, one of the CPI drivers is in the wall. I believe it's Frankis who's gone for a spin, and he'll start at the back in 20th place. Yossi will come across the sector split at the end of this straight now. He hits the grass. He's certainly lost time. Surely comes across. Wow. He's 5/10 down, and that will certainly be it as Wiener comes across the line for ET8-1-3 as it stands so far. Matthew Hall's not going to be improving. Raz Tosmason looking to improve, but he's 0.05 of a second down. Furious is a 10th.5 down, so he's not improving. Liam Bowman also not going to be improving as it stands so far either. So plenty of drivers out on the field not improving, but F7R have lost a driver. The championship, the team looking to try and take their second championship in a row have lost Jose, as Marlon is looking to try and improve. He's 0.2 up in that second sector, looking sharp as anything at the moment. Martin goes 3rd fastest. Marlon goes 9th fastest. Both NLR drivers through, and that will be it as far as I'm aware. I think Enzo is also, he's definitely invalid on that particular occasion. So Shizou Tom will be counting and thanking his lucky stars that both of the Shizou drivers are through with that 15th place finish. And Liam Bowman, a driver so desperately in form across the world scene, only 13th fastest, but that is just a testament to how close this qualifying was. In the end, it was 2.5 tenths separating you from being at the top to being knocked out of qualifying. Really good.
Definitely. Enzo there in 16th, knocked out. CPR Look knocked out. Bell Belby knocked out. Yossi knocked out. And then they were all on a 111 flat, 111.1. And Francis there in 20th. As I said last night in PSL, PSF1, you may as well call me Mystic James. About half the field improved for 10.9 in the end. And in the end, 111 flat was the benchmark between Tom and Enzo. That will increase, of course, as we go through the sessions. It probably will be a drier Q2 and then even a drier Q3 as well. Otis Lawrence in the chat is saying Declan has washed. I totally agree with that, to be honest. Down in 7th position is our Smokey. But it is being smoked by the rest of the field. Wiener out on top. The ET8 man out on top. Ren's there in 2nd. TRL Martin in 3rd. Good showing from him, I've got to say, on his Legacy Division debut. Lou there in 4th. Matthew Hall there in 5th. Only the 8200ths of a second covering the top 5 in Q1. Ogween there in 6th. Declan Barrett there down in 7th. 2D there in 8th. Rayen there in 9th. Mike Chia, by the way, from Marlon, was not showing bias towards NLR. He's down there in P10. Jaeger there in 11th. He's definitely going to be on the bombs tonight. Furious there in 12th. Liam Bowman there in 13th. Sapala there in 14th. Tom in 15th. 500th of a second covering Sapala and Tom, and only 7,000th of a second covering Enzo, and then Lou 6,000th back. Just comes to show how unlucky they were, I think, in terms of that session. Bell Belby down, Yossi down. Obviously, both didn't improve in terms of their mistakes. And Frankus there down at the back of the field there as well. But it is Wiener out on top, Renz Thomason alongside him on the front row of the grid in Q1, who was going to be out on top in Q2. Only time will tell. As I promised, though, you guys a little bit earlier on, because we were absolutely jumping at the hip to try and get everything running, let's have a rundown of the championship standings coming into tonight as before we get into Q2. Team Chazoo lead the way on 365 points. Novus Racing in 2nd on 343. F7R third on 288. ETA with a better performance last week. Still got a mountain to climb though in fourth on 255. NLR fifth on 177. TTM on 129 and sixth. BRT in 7th on 118, then Team at TF10 even on 110, CPI in 9th on 99, L-Plan in 10th on 61, and Outplayed Racing on 29. They will always remain that way, unless, of course, they reform and then come back in towards the end of the season. But Team Shizou out on top by 22 points. That second and third in China last week, Jota, from Tom and from Cameron Dowd, was absolutely crucial to them maintaining their lead.
Yeah, it seemed very crucial, to be fair. And I think it was one of those very rare scenarios, actually, in World where, especially in China, where we actually saw the top teams really sort of fighting out at the top, to be honest with you. So they needed to be able to do that one and actually almost commit to some damage control from what was actually a really, really intense race from the front fielders. But I'm looking forward to seeing what this race has got to come by, because, of course, after that intensity of a really, really long race weekend at France and at China, these drivers are now got to settle back into the regular league racing format, your full qualifying, your 50% race. But critically, everyone is so tightly compact that you end up having, these conversations about Novus, leading from the front. But as we saw with Liam Bowman down in 13th in Q1, every 100th and every 1000th of a second will count here. So I can't put my finger on what's going to happen, because anything can happen, and it usually does.
It usually does, especially in the Legacy Division. It usually does, and even though somebody might have took the session in Q1, might not end the same in Q2, certainly won't end the same in Q3, judging by the 8 out of 9 rounds I think that we've had this season, where it has pretty much been at the top. Speaking of at the top, one man looking to try and reclaim to the top is TRL Martin. He's just about to start up on this lap. Let's take you on board then with a lap of the Spanish Grand Prix circuit, the reprofiled Spanish Grand Prix circuit, of course, on this game. The long run down in towards turn number 1 welcomes TRL Martin onto his lap as he now runs down in toward the right-hander of turn number 1. Break just after the 100-metre ball, get the car rotated in nicely, beautiful, through turns 1 and 2. Now hunkering the car down through the right-hander turn number 3. Again, opting to take pretty much a middle of the road line. Can get marbles on the inside of the curb there, but it's not too bad. And 21.4 through the first sector clearly says to me he's on a set of used compounder tyres. He now runs down in toward the left-hander of turn number 5 of Sayat, and then in towards my favourite section out of the track. This middle sector, you hook this up, you are absolutely banging on a lap time as TRL Martin comes through turn 6 and 7. Now on the up in toward the right-hander now of turn number 9, and then in toward the left-hander of turn number 10 at the end of the middle sector. And it's not looking too bad at all from the TTM man on the run toward the middle sector. 50 flat in the middle sector, dead on, pretty much on par with what we've seen at the start of Q1 as well. So he is on a new set of tyres, looking to try and get a good lap time on the board, as you mentioned, very quick out of Bank Sabadell. Beautiful on the curb, through the right-hander turn number 13, through the right-hander turn number 14, blink it, you miss it, that's a lap the Spanish Grand Prix done. TRL Martin on the run to the line, 111 flat, and that already could be a big lap time to beat.
Yeah, that's impeccable. If that is a used set of soft tyres from the TTM boys, that is really, really quick. Jaeger coming across the line for BRT as well with a 10.9 of his own. Lou currently on a lap as well, but he's well down the field. Looking to try and get going here, as it looks like one of the Mercedes at Shizou. Tom coming across the line, 10.9 for him as well, actually. Really quick here as one of the McLarens coming in. It's Reds Tosmerson as he comes across the line with an 18.8. Wow. 8.0, 1,000th of a second faster than TTM. Furious. I did say every thousandth would count, but I didn't really think it'd be that close here, as we've got Lou coming across the line imminently as well, as EPL Rayen only coming across the line with only an 11.1, as Lou comes across the line with a 10.9 of his own. Oh, this is just impeccably close, isn't it, on these new set of soft tyres? Imagine what the new ones are going to be like here. As Ogween comes across the line, is he going to be in the process? He will be, with 11.0 of his own out there at the moment here, as we've got Sipala coming across the line. In fact, no, he's on an invalid lap on that occasion. Oh no, in fact, he's just starting on a... No, it is an invalid lap, actually, for that matter. And he's looking to try and set something in the line. I'm just seeing what he actually set on that particular invalid lap on this occasion. Sipala actually came across the line himself with a 1:11.037 on an invalid lap. So once again, he would have been 7th fastest and only 3,000ths of a second faster than Ogween. Really, really close out there. Unbelievable stuff.
Really close indeed. Rens Thomason out on top. Furious there in second. Tom there in third. You could almost say Furious is furious, but he's only 1,000th of a second off the back of Rens. That's my one and only pun of him done for the night. I can guarantee it. However, Liam Bowman, Flying Scotsman, which is getting moved apparently at the Easter holidays at the National Railway Museum in York. Liam Bowman, though, not getting moved in the South Atari. Coming through the right-hander of turn number 2, then through the right-hander now of turn number 3. And we'll see what this first sector is looking like for the Flying Scotsman. The locomotive in full action with a 21.3 in the first sector. Ryan has left the session. Hopefully we can get him back in very shortly indeed. But Liam Bowman looking too bad through the first sector. Smokey, by the way, is just starting on the run, so we'll try and compare first and middle sectors if we can. Now running into the left-hander turn number 7 and 8 with Liam Bowman on board this lap. Really hunkered down. A little bit of a correction there through turn 7 and 8. Now through the right-hander turn number 9, he is pushing like a good one now on this lap, and it looks like he's on a clear set of soft compound tyres. 49.8 in the middle sector. Up on Renz Thomason, up on Furious, and this is all going up for the Flying Scotsman. Now coming through the right-hander turn number 12 at Bank Sabadell. Not looking too bad at all. Smokey's coming through the end of the middle sector very shortly indeed. But Liam Bowman now coming through the final corner at New Holland on the run toward the line with the Flying Scotsman. The locomotive in full action, 110.7. Nice. Very good lap time. That's a statement lap right there. And Smokey in the middle sector, only a 50.1. So he's 3/10 down on Liam Bowman.
Yeah, full 10-7 there. Smokey also trying to set up there as well. Washed man Declan himself coming across the final couple of corners as he's trying his hardest to set a precedent alongside his teammate here. Are Nova setting the early precedent that they are going to be considered championship leaders when he comes across the line? Now, no. Smokey 10.9 and ends up actually just 200ths of a second, slower than Shazoo Tom. Shazoo, of course, the co-compatriots at the top of the leaderboard. So Tom immediately setting the precedent. There is a little bit of pace to be found for Declan, I'm sure, but he's only 5th fastest and a little bit of a gap between him and his teammate, but it is all at the moment such a heavy split, isn't it? The top 7 are from 6 different teams. Brilliant.
Definitely so, and now Matthew Hall about to come into the line as well. Only goes 10th fastest, a 1:11 flat from Matthew Hall. Disappointing from his perspective. Clear at TRL Martin by only, 1600ths of a second, that is. Rayen is back in. 2D set the same lap time as well as TRL Martin, so drivers have got to get a good lap time in. But 8 minutes into the, 7 minutes gone, 8 minutes left in the session. Liam Bowman out on top, Renz in second, Furious there in third. But now drivers are about to go on their fast laps, and it looks like it's one of the McLarens. I think it's Renz actually who is on an out lap first. He is going to hog up all of the airtime, I think, tonight. We rode on board with him for his first lap. We may as well ride on board with him again. Now on a lap coming through New Holland Corner at turn number 14. One of the young rising stars on PlayStation, Renz Thomason, on the run to the line. What can the Dutchman do here in Spain? Can he find his mojo? Can F7R find their mojo as well? Renz on the run down and towards turn number 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's important here for Renz Thomason, to be fair. I think the Dutchman is now setting himself up to be basically one of the lead drivers in F7R as well. Jose, who a driver at one point would have thought would have been one of the leaders at F7R, is really struggling in this particular tournament anyway. And it's just not the kind of pace that we expected from him. But on the power very early for Thomason as he comes across into the left-hander. Now a little bit of a lock-up on the rear. We saw that one again. On the rear, on the right-hand side, rather. We saw that one in Q1. We've seen it again on these now brand new sets of soft boots on the McLaren. Going through then the left-hander and then chucking it through the right-hander where they have the DRS Zone 1, which will open up there, and then the Sector 2 split will come up and our screens right now, and he is actually only a 10th up in this particular lap, so he is looking to try and beat Liam Bowman, but it might only just be by a very small margin, which if this is on a new set of soft tyres, Thomason might be in a little bit of trouble as it falls down the standings, of course. We'll see then. It goes through the right-hander and chucking it through the final right-hander before he gets to start-finishing line. DRS open for the second time and comes across the line, goes fastest. 10.680 is pretty quick, but with drivers around that are all looking so quick on fresh soft tyres now, I have a feeling he might be just a little bit in trouble. I wouldn't say he's going to be out of qualifying, but it is going to be pretty close.
Well, BRT lose on the run to the line, and he's a 10th and a half up in that middle sector. On the run to the line from his perspective, third, 1:10.758. Not a bad lap there all from him. Furious is up on Lou's lap time. He's up by a 10th of a second. Now coming in toward the right-hander at turn 13. Now in toward the right-hander at turn number 14. It's Renz out on top. Liam Bowman there in second. Lou there in third. Furious now on the run toward the line, a 1:10.7. Not a bad lap there at all from him. Wiener is through the first sector, 21.4 in the first sector from his perspective.
Tom! Oh, he's out of qualifying. Tom ends up putting it into the grass, onto the tarmac, off of the tarmac, into the gravel, and he puts it into the wall at the beginning of turn 3. And Shazoo, the championship leaders, have now only got one driver in Q3.
And that was on the left-hand side coming out of turn number 2. Unfortunately, he got caught on that outside curb on that grass, as you mentioned, and then in the end, he is down at, 10th position. Could still get through, though. That gap between Tom and Ogween, Ogween's going to have to try and protect that, I think, for Shizou to have at least one driver in. Ogween, speaking of which, I think, is currently on the lap. Oh, and he's 3/10 up in the middle sector. Ogween is absolutely
Really
flying.
quick.
Really good through this middle sector. Now coming through the final couple of corners on the run toward the line. 2D out on top. Renton second. Liam Bowman in third. But here comes Ogween, the former Team Valor man, on the run toward the line. 110.7 goes fourth. And Tom still there down in 10th position. Molon there in 11th. Hasn't done enough at the minute. Matthew Hall is in trouble along with TRL Martin, Rayanne and Sapala, who hasn't got a lap time in at this stage. So Tom is pretty much saved, I think, at this point, if nobody can improve beyond the 111. And we saw in the Q1 session, Jota, that 111.043, I think it was the cutoff period for that 15th, that crucial 15th, 16th position that we saw in Q1. So Tom out, but he's still got a chance.
I have a feeling that the 10.9 might not be the lap time that sees people get knocked out. I think a 10.7 might be the cutoff here. If it is, that means everyone from Furious upwards is actually at risk, and that includes actually the new leader in this particular standings in TF10 Tuli with a 10.6. Tom crashing out for Team Shizou is the last thing that they need at the moment. Matthew Hall flying through the first sector, though, as he now goes through the right-hander of turn 3, then heading through into turn 4. Sector split will be coming up at the end of this particular set of corners now. So he's actually 200ths of a second down on his fastest lap time, which is the last thing he needs when he's on an 11.0 at the moment. He needs to find at least a couple of tenths and give himself at least a little bit of a cushion. A 10.8 would only put him in P8, but the question is whether other people around him have got the pace to do so. And honestly, I think Rayanne and Martin have got a little bit more pace, and of course Sipala has yet to set a lap time at the moment out there. At the moment, Rayanne actually just going on an outlap as we speak. Matthew Hall, though, going at the end. Here's his sector 2 sector split.
Oh, yeah.
No, he's 3/10 up. He's looking blisteringly quick now, as Matthew looking to try and get himself through into Q3, and then with that particular sector split, I think he's looking comfortable.
Yeah, bye-bye, Tom. I think it's going to be the order of the day here. Coming through the right-hand with turn number 13, through the right-hander now, turn number 14 for New Holland corner. Matthew Hall needs to make a mistake through the final corner. Needs to still be safe. On the run to the line, goes third. And Tom still in 10th position. Still in 10th position, I repeat. And I don't know how he is, because these lap times are changing. Jaeger there in 11th. Molon there in 12th. Rayanne now coming out on an outlap, the EPL man. He's luckily back in the session, which is good. Avatar mentioned in the chat as well, possible rain in the race. I haven't been told what the weather is. We're just going on what's in front of us out on track. I know for a fine fact, though, that it is going to be dry throughout the entirety of these sessions, which is going to be really good. 2D out on top, Renton second, Matthew Hall there in third. Rayanne is going to be the first to set up on a lap time. And he's on a 111.1. Needs to find 2/10 of a second and then some to try and get through this session. And I've actually just realised a bit of a glitch that we've got. Tom there in P10 is on a 110.904. Smokey ahead of him is on a 110.924. Certainly on my end, there's a glitch.
Yeah, it is a little bit odd, but this is the reason why that is the situation is because he is knocked out of qualifying, Tom. Whatever happens, his car is destroyed. He will not take further part in qualifying regardless of where he is. As it stands so far, however, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th and 15th haven't set a lap time faster than Shizou Tom. So Shizou Tom will be knocked out, but Jaeger, Marlon, Martin, Rayanne and Sipala will all be knocked out as well, which means we'll only have 9 cars in Q3 as it stands. So it's not a glitch that. It looks odd, but it's not a glitch. It's actually accurate. Jaeger, Marlon, Martin, Rayanne and Sipala need to set a lap time that actually puts them in proximity of Tom. At the moment, they are well off the pace and will be knocked out of qualifying as it currently stands at the moment. So keep an eye out and see how that one performs. It's very curious, but as far as I'm aware, that is how the game works. It's always been like that for the last 7 years, as far as I remember in commentary.
Well, let's see what Rayanne is doing in this middle sector. He is a 49.9, so he is up on Tom's time as it stands. Need to try and find a bit more time, though, if he was to try and get there. Would be a 110.8 even, it would be at this stage from Rayanne. Gets a little bit of a tow, actually, from the AlphaTauri just ahead of him, coming through the final corner on the run to the line. Rayanne, Tom's still in 10th position. Unbelievable.
Ooh, wow,
2D
okay.
there leading, Renton second, Matthew Hall in third. It might well be a glitch as we occur. TRL Martin is through the first sector. He is purple on the first sector there as well. Molon just on up on a lap, and Jaeger is up on a lap time as well. So we'll see what they can do. Hopefully drivers do improve beyond the 110.904. I think that's what we're looking at. However, Obviously, drivers have got in with a lap time, a 1:10.699 there for Ryan, and Jaeger's down in the middle sector. So Jaeger at this stage, not improving. Tom remaining there in P10, certainly on our screen. But Harry Jenner saying in the chat, it's just corrected Declan's position. It has indeed. Yeah, Declan in behind is now an 11th, so that's what happened. Jaeger now through the final corner. On the run to line, furious. 1:10.5, great lap time from him. Jaeger goes 11th in the end. 3,000th of a second off. Here comes Tyrrell Martin on the run to line. Should go quicker. He does. Tom's knocked out. 1:10.880. And that is Tom knocked out officially. Wouldn't have even mattered because here's Smokey on the run to the line. Goes 10th fastest. At 1:10.7. Molon down on the lap. Sapala is improving though. Sapala is improving. Maybe on Smokey's lap time. As it stands, we'll see what Molon can do first and foremost. The NLR man now on the run to line. Wiener there goes third. Good lap from him. Molon on the run to line goes 14th. What's Sapala doing on the run to the line? He goes 10th and he knocks Smokey out. Sapala knocks Smokey out. Declan Barrett, the McLaren shadow man. He's in the shadows in Q2. Sapala there through into Q3. NLR going to be rejoicing. NVR going to be saying, what the hell has just happened? Sapala through and Smokey out.
Yeah, it's a cracking lap from Sapala. His third sector looks so fast, actually. Put the power down so early going through that right-hander, and that has just managed to sneak him through. And Declan Barrett, PSR Smokey, the man that brought PSR, you know, some serious competition. And, of course, now racing with Novus Racing, the team that needed both of their drivers through to capitalise on Shazoo, Tom being knocked out. They've lost a driver, and you know what? Liam Bowman's not looking that blisteringly quick either in 8th, so they've got a bit of a risky scenario here, but the top 10 separated by less than 0.2 of a second, and we did say 10.7 would be the knockout, and it is. That is the scenario. Sapala through, Smokey out. Ogween manages to sneak through as well, so the championship frontrunners are struggling a little bit. It's all about ET8 though, 3rd and 5th. They're doing brilliantly out there.
And it's all about the fact as well that we've got 9 teams fighting out for Q3 here out on track in Spain. Always good to see. Still overcast in terms of Q3 as we now head back out on track very swiftly indeed. Get your predictions in though in the comment section. Who do you think is going to take pole position here out on track with the best 10 that we've got here tonight in Spain? Albeit 6 Xbox drivers, 4 PlayStation drivers as well, just to throw that caveat into play. I'm immediately going to put myself under pressure and say Rens Thomason for pole.
Oh, no, you can't do that to yourself, as everyone is so close, isn't it, that every 100th of a second will count. So, you know, your favourites have got to be the teams that have been able to get both of their drivers through. And you know what? Advantage ET8 in that one. They've got both of their drivers through. Meanwhile, the rest of the teams, you know, have managed to get a driver through. You know, EPL have got a driver through as well, which is, you know, brilliant. You know, TF10 have got a driver through. So I'm just trying to figure out which team it is that's been knocked out here, actually. And they've been lost both of their drivers. And I can't actually quite figure it out. I think that just shows how intense it is. If you could help me out, James, and tell me which team it is that I've lost. It's sorry, who is it? Ah, yeah, CPI. They lost both their drivers out. So ET8 have managed to benefit by bringing both of their drivers through. But they're the team that have been so consistent, haven't they? Matthew and Wiener for ET8 have been the ones that have been consistently towards the front. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say Matthew Hall's probably got it, but it's based just purely on the fact that the team has managed to pull both of their drivers through while everyone else was fighting out with just the one driver. Oh, it's brilliant. 10, more than 10 minutes to go. We'll see who gets pole. Let us know what you think, guys. Pop it in the chat.
Alfie Daniels there in the chat saying 2D or Furious is what I'm saying. Tyler's saying only one full team left in Q3 as well. Yes, that team is, and I'm just looking through, it's ET8. It is Wiener and Matthew Hall. ET8 have got only their both drivers in, apart from the rest of the rest of the field. If that makes any sense. That sounds really wrong coming out of my mouth, but what I'm basically saying is ET8 have got both their drivers in Q3. The rest of the teams haven't. Yeah, the only team, ET8, have got, of course, both their drivers in. However, Furious is coming on to a run for TTM, now through the final corner, on the run to line, the first lap of Q3, bound to be on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, I'd imagine, as well, and he is now on the run down the line, in towards turn number 1, so we'll see what the TTM man can do. Tyrrell Martin, of course, knocked out there in Q2. Let's see what Furious can do, though,
wow.
coming through the left-hander of turn number 2, right in the curve, very nicely indeed. Now coming through the right-hander of turn number 3, and we'll see what this first sector split is looking like. I will tell you what the first sector split is looking like. I haven't got it up, but it is a good first sector.
21-3 initially on this one, so I think this might be actually a U set of softs initially. We'll see, though, as he chucks the car through the left-hander on this one, and he's going to keep the car nice and cool, nice and easy. Avoid the sausage curve on the outside of that particular corner. Well taken, though, from TTM as well. It's exactly the kind of thing that TTM need at the moment. They've been in a real bad fortune, haven't they, in World? I think in any other competition, TTM have been sort of a team to really look out for, but World just doesn't seem to have clicked for them in this one. Of course, they've got their main man in Martin out to qualifying. Furious then leading the front, and he is a favourite in the chat. Clearly, people think that he might be on for pole here. Going through the right-hander, I'd still think this might be a U set of softs. We'll see the initial lap time here. If he can get a 10.8, you'd think that they potentially might be on the brink as he comes across the line right now. 10.6, actually, on this occasion. So if that is a new set of soft tyres, might be okay. If that's a used set of soft tyres, that is really quick. Liam Bowman actually beaten to the line by Furious by just 0.05 of a second as Rayan comes across the line with a 10.9.
Just casually putting in that 2D set of 49.6 in the middle sector. Looking huge here, the Team TF10 man on the runs line. Should have bladed around everyone. 110.4. Wow. Quickest lap of the session so far. Quickest lap that we've ever had here in Legacy Division in Spain as well. Ogwin coming through the middle sector on the run to the line now through New Holland corner. And he goes fourth in the end, but it is 2D out on top. Furious there in second. Liam Bowman there in third at this stage. Sapala now next up. He's invalid on a 110.935 in the end. Would have went sixth ahead of Rayan. Matthew Hall through the first sector. 21-3 in the first sector. Huge first sector for Matthew Hall. Let's see what the ET8 man can do.
Yeah, quick in the first sector. I think this is on, again, he was matching the likes of Furious on that occasion. I was thinking that 21-3 might be used, but it might be new here. Oh, losing the rear ever so slightly, mounting the curb, though, going through there, but he might be okay as he's powered on through it, going through the right-hander, then sector 2 split coming up at the end of this straight, then DRS wide open for the Aston Martin as he sets his lap time of a 49.7, so a little bit down the order. You have to suspect he might be on for a front row, but it is ultimately very close between him, Furious, and Bowman as it stands. Ogwin also on the brink as well. We'll see them going through the right-hander and then through the second right-hander. Of course, his teammate just starting a lap. Of course, both of the ET8 boys managing to get through. The only team to get through to Q3 together. Matthew Hall comes across the line 10.513. So beating Furious to the line to the front row. But Tudy flying high with that 10.466. That might just be enough for pole immediately out the blocks, but we'll see as the track continues to evolve out there. Purple first sector, but 21.4 actually for Wiener. So I don't think that's accurate as he's actually looking like he's more around Furious's pace at the moment.
Yeah, definitely so. 2D out on top. Matthew Hall second. Furious there in third. My pick for Paul. Renz Thomason on the run to line. Looking very, very poor in the middle sector. And he's a 110.6 in the end. Goes third. So not a bad lap there at all from him. Reminder, it might be on a used set of soft compound tyres. Sapala there back into effect then as well for NLR. Wiener in the middle sector, 49.8. So pretty much matching what Renz has just done in that middle sector. So we'll see what the E-Take man can do now coming up towards Bank Sabadell at turn number 12. But it is 2D out on top. Halfway through qualifying. 2D for Team TF10. Matthew Hall for ET8. Renz for McLaren and for F7R. They're in third as Wiener now on the run to line. Going to try and put it up there. Oh! 110.611. I think you were 4 thousandths off on that lap time. Not a bad lap there at all for Wiener.
I was calling 10.65 because I think you have to at this point. You can call 10.6, but it's an easy guess at this point, isn't it? Because of how close it is out there. So we're going to have to go to the 100th if we're going to call it. But I call the 10.65 because his second sector is not that equivalent, actually. But his third sector is so quick in comparison to the likes of Furious that he managed to make that time up. So he's behind his teammate, but if he can find a little bit more pace in that second sector, I think Wiener's actually got a bit of a dark horse for a potential pole position here. We'll see what the rest of Q3's got to go. 5.5 minutes left in this session. Plenty of soft tyres out there as Wiener's just run out of fuel.
He has just run out of fuel. Be a long way home from now in towards the pit lane. We have got a driver, though, coming out of the pit lane just to try and rub it in even further. Team TF10 have sent 2D out there on track by himself. This is interesting because 2D's out on pole. Obviously, I think Team TF10 have done this because now we've got other drivers leaving the pit lane. But they've got about a 30-35 second gap, I think, out on track compared to everyone else in behind. They've done this, I think, to try and preempt the track conditions towards the end of the session 2D there out on top. 500's clear Matthew Hall. They obviously feel, I think, from my perspective anyways, looking from a commentator's perspective, they obviously feel 2D has not done enough in terms of their lap time. That's why they send them out early, and that's why they're going to send them out again on a third run later on in the session.
A lot of trail braking actually at the moment for Tudis. So he's obviously trying to warm the brakes up and warm the inner carcass of the tyres by doing it in that particular manner. But if you do that wrong, as he was going through turn 5, you can actually lock up your tyres and put a little bit of unnecessary wear on them. So a bit of a bold way to do it. I think on the straights you should be all right, but if you do it into the corners, you're going to end up actually losing the health of your tyres to get them maximise your chance of pole. So Tudi will be a bit wary. See there on that front left lockup then. So he has to be careful about what he's doing here, because if he puts too much tyre wear while he's trying to warm up his tyres, he'll actually lose time. So we'll see what he does anyway, and it looks like Liam Bowman just behind, so he'll be the next person to set a lap time as he now just heads through the final couple of corners, and he's going to have a go at this one. 10.4.666 to beat.
Yeah, it is indeed his own lap time to beat. Let's see what he can do, and let's see if he can put everyone else under pressure. Can he? He probably will. On the run down in towards turn number 1 then, with Team TF10 2D on the run there down in towards the right-hander of turn number 1. And he rides the outside curve really neatly indeed. Now coming to the left-hander turn number 2, absolutely on it, coming through the middle part of turn 2 there. Now to the right-hander turn number 3, getting opting to take the inside line. First sector split, 21.4. Down in the first sector, that was because I think he took too much curb at the end of there of turn number 1. But 2D on the run there down in towards turn number 5 at Sayak corner, and then in towards turn 6 and 7, looking very nice indeed, really nice on the curb on the exit as well. In towards now turn 7 and 8, through the left-hander, through the right-hander, he's invalid, 2D is invalid, and that's why they send him out early, because he can get another run in later on in the session.
Yeah, harvest the energy, get yourself ready again. The tyres are nice and warm, so he doesn't have to do any more of that trail braking stuff. I think what happened where he took the corner, I think he was a bit apprehensive. That turn 1, that's what happened. You take turn 1, he took too much curb, and as a result of that one, he was a bit apprehensive going into the left-hander, worried about taking too much curb. As a result, he ended up going wide, and as a result of that one, took too much curb on the outside and ended up invalidating his lap. He chucks the car straight into the pit lane. I don't know how much time there is left, 2.5 minutes, so he has got a little bit of time to potentially get out there and have another go. He's actually retired, so he's not going to have any further part in this qualifying. So 10.466 to beat, boys. Let's see what you've got out there. Liam Bowman, by the way, set a 10.654 on that particular occasion, but it wasn't an invalid lap, so he's now got to warm up his tyres and have another go at this one. Lou comes across the line with a 10.544, though. The lap time's coming in thick and fast. Next person to set a lap time then, I believe, well, by the looks of things, anyway, will be Rayen. Oh, no, he's on an out lap, so he's just going to get started. Here we go, then.
He is indeed on the run there down and towards the right-hander turn number 1. James, by the way, not me in the chat, saying Jota obviously doesn't know how to warm up his tyres. There we are. But we take criticism where we'll get it, put it that way. That's definitely not coming from me either. That's not my burner account sending that either. 2D out on top, Matthew Hall in second, Lou there in third, Rayen through the first sector, 21.4 in the first sector. Not too bad, actually, from the EPL man. 21.4, matching it up there with the likes of Wiener, Renz, Thomason, perhaps through that first sector. And now coming in toward the left-hander of turn number 6, and then toward the left-handers now, turn 7 and 8. Once again, flicking it left, flicking it right. Nicely done through there compared to 2D and his mistake. With 2D retiring, that means Matthew Hall's got a really good chance, and he's coming through the first sector split actually right now, and his first sector down by 1600ths of a second, 21.3 in that first sector, but Rayen is flying, as you mentioned. Purple in the middle sector might be indicative, though, of him improving on terms of a lap time rather than actually purple out of everyone in the lap. He's going to get a bit of a toll coming through the final couple of corners. Mercedes and McLaren looking very close to each other. Renz, Thomason and Ogwin for Rayen in the wall. Rayen in the wall. 5 tenths down his lap time. Makes a mistake through the final corner. That's him done. Matthew Hall, though, is a 10th down in the middle sector. So Matthew Hall is not finding anything right now. Renz on the lap. Ogwin in the lap as well. Wiener, 21.3 in the first sector. Wiener's huge in the first sector.
Wiener is huge in the middle sector. I cannot continue that conversation. Going through the left-hander, though, he is flying out there, is Wiener. And you know what? Rayen had a purple second sector, and he was blisteringly quick. He was so much faster than Judy by 1.5 tenths, actually. So he would have had it, but the dirty air going through that final corner from the McLaren and the Mercedes meant that he just lost it, going out of the rear into the wall. And that is EPL's chance of being towards the front, completely done and dusted. That's really unfortunate as well. He's a man in form at the moment. Is Rayen. He's flying out there, Wiener, at the moment. 1.5 tenths up in the second sector, looking quick. He might beat his teammate, but the question is he going to beat Tudy? Oh, he's not got the rear end locked up, though. The front end wouldn't connect. He had to give it a bit of a wiggle to get the front end connected.
Wow.
Furious goes fastest with a 10.371, but Wiener is the one that we're looking at the moment, goes across the line. No, it's only a 10.5. He beats his teammate by 4,000 of a second. He doesn't beat Tudy, but Furious is looking fast as Ren Thomason comes across the line. He goes on the front row alongside Furious with a 10.454. Ogween won't improve. He goes into the pit lane, and then all we're waiting for now is Sipala. 40, it looks like a 43.8 is not looking fast out there at the moment. It's Sipala. So people who discredited TTM, they might have got pole position. It's the first time that TTM have been looking for this one since Monaco, you'd have to argue. Through the right-hander, NLR Sipala will go. He managed to sneak through to Q3. Will he sneak through to pole? He will not on this occasion. TTM are on pole.
TTM are on pole, indeed. Sipala in the end going into 7th position at the end of Q3 there. What an end to that session. Furious, I didn't even see him on the lap time, I'll be honest. And that is why you do not go on board, that you go on board with everyone. Don't discount the underdogs. And Furious is an underdog in that qualifying session. Fantastic performance from him. Came down to one lap and he proved it. 110.3. Rens Thomason in second. I banged my desk quite hard. My hand now hurts because of the result. Rens Thomason though in second. Tudy there in third. Wiener there in fourth. Matthew Hall there in fifth. With Lou there in sixth. M. Sapala there in seventh. Liam Bowman in eighth. Ogween there in ninth. He didn't get a lap time in because he was so close to Rens coming through the final corner. He didn't get a lap time in. Rens did. He went second in the end. Ray M there in 10th, right down at the back in the field. EPL did manage to get their driver through in Q3, which is crucial. We're going to take an intermission break. We're going to have a word from our sponsors, Next Level Racing and indeed Grid Finder. We'll see you on the other side of the break. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to WOR Legacy Division. We've got the cameras on, and it's actually not lagging, which is really, really strange. My voice might be coming through a bit strange, but it's because we had a thrilling Q1, Q2, and Q3 there in qualifying in Spain. Of course, my name's James Head. Joshua alongside me in the commentary box. Good to see your face once again, as always. What a thrilling qualifying session that was. And in the end, who was it out on top? TTM.
TTM, you know what? I wasn't expecting it, to be fair. Furious needed that. And you know what? TTM needed that, to be fair. They've been, really unlucky, and I think they've been a bit downbeat ever since, honestly, Monaco. I think they had a real shout at potentially winning that race, and just a poor Q3, and they've never really got their season going since then. So hopefully this is the kick up the backside I think the team needed. I've been just speaking with Tez in the background at the moment, and he says that he might have made Furious and Martin deaf. With how loud he was when they managed to get that pole. So they are really, really happy, to say the least, on that one. Brilliant.
Yeah, really, really happy indeed. Of course, Furious out on top, and then very interesting in behind because we've got Renz Thomason, my pick for Paul. Unfortunately, second, came up one short, but I'm very happy with his performance. F7R definitely need that performance, though. They were, of course, at one point of the season leading the championship, and now they're down in what? Looking at the standings, they are down in third position, 281 points. Team Chazoo 365, Novus on 343. F7R, that's exactly what they need, I think, to get back into contention. Novus, however, though, obviously Declan Barrett out in Q2, big shocker. And then, of course, their other driver, Liam Bowman, only managing, what, 5th or 6th, I think, in qualifying there?
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. And I think Shazoo were obviously in trouble with Tom, who ended up crashing out in Q2. So that is going to be the sort of precedent setter here as the countdown now begins for this particular lobby. Just worth making note, by the way, that F7R haven't actually had a podium in any competition, in any race since round 4. So they are well due for a podium. Now, Renz could potentially get that one, but at the moment, Yossi's going to have to fight from all the way down at the back. Of course, they were knocked out in Q1. So again, that massive disparity between F7R, the two F7R drivers in the race, is what is causing them some serious issues. Because this is what ended up happening in the last season, and they've not sorted out this season, and they're paying the price for it because Novus and Shazoo are running riot.
They are indeed, and obviously consistency is king. Consistency is key when it comes to the standings. A reminder, Team Chazoo, 365 points, 22 points clear of Novus Racing. Team Chazoo would have been behind if it wasn't for their second and third in China, and if it wasn't from that dive bomb of a man that I see in the comment section there, F7R Flopman, in the session. If it wasn't for him, Team Chazoo wouldn't have got a second and third. Simple as that. Tom and Cameron Dowds coming up stumps there, of course, in China, maintaining their race lead, maintaining their lead in terms of the standings. F7R third, E8 fourth on 255. The front four have it between themselves, but TTM in 6th position, 129 points. NL on 177. This, I dare not put a mocker on it because I know for a fine fact I now am. But I am going to say it. TTM in 6th, 129 points. NLR 5th on 177. Is this where TTM's season really starts?
This is where they need it to start, actually, because I think the issue is that they ended up having that really, really upsetting performance for the team in Monaco, where they really should have been at the front, and it just feels like the team has been so deflated since then. And they've been able to perform in other leagues as well, in other, performances in other championships. They've been able to be at the front and be fighting for it. But World is just, they've never really been able to click in this tournament. But there is an opportunity on the horizon here, and they've got an OG in Martin in the midfield here that could end up cooking something pretty ravenous for the team. So if Furious leads from the front, Martin just needs to make some overtakes, as we've seen him do time and time again in league racing. TTM could be in for big points tonight, but I think for me it's all about ET8 though. As if we talk from a team's perspective, 4th and 5th for Wiener and Martin Hall. Wiener actually out qualifying his teammate in 4th. So 2nd row start for Wiener, 3rd row start for Matthew. ET8 could be in for big points tonight. Let's see what they've got on the horizon.
I was going to say Martin's part of TTM. You said Martin there, and I thought, yeah, it's ET8 Matthew. He's there down in P5, though. Liam Bowman, though, I think further behind as well in P6, so he's going to be very interesting to watch out for out on track. I'm going to throw 2 names out there from further down the field. Yossi, F7R man, out of Q1, and Marlon as well. I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing Marlon does well around this track, has picked up consistent podiums around this track in other team events as well. Hopefully, though, everything will go according to plan and everything will go into that as well. But remember, as Tyler's has just reminded me in the chat, Liam Bowman's got a 3-place grid penalty as a result of NVR picking up 3 warnings, and because Liam Bowman is their A driver here tonight, it was meant to be Gabor, Liam Bowman in instead, that means he takes the hit, he takes the 3-place grid penalty, so I think that means he's starting, down in, 8th or 9th position now? 11th.
He starts in 11th now, actually, behind his teammate who's on the 5th row of the grid with Smokey. Declan starting in 10th. Here we go.
Here we go. 5 red lights about to go out there in Spain for round number 9 of the championship here in WOR Legacy Division. And it is lights out and away we go. Renz gets a better start than Furious. Might get the run down in towards turn 1. Tucks into the slipstream on the back of the Williams. The Williams is doing a bit of lawn mowing down in towards turn number 1. And here comes Renz for the race lead. The McLaren flies it up the inside line in towards turn 1. Set a soft compound tyres on that car. And he's into the lead already. Furious there in second. There's a bit of drama further down the field. Moron and Enzo getting caught in each other slightly. But Tootie there and Wiener, the side by side now coming through turn number 3. In toward the right hander now. Turn number 4. Aston Martin flies it down the inside line. Tootie on the outside line though. Boxed in a little bit by Furious. He's not really going anywhere. Tootie might have to launch the inside line. Turn number 5. Gap is there on the inside line. Tootie might actually get this move done in the end, and he does. Tootie into second. Furious there in third. It lets Renz get up the road by 7/10 of a second. Bit wide in the background, I think, was Rayan, and Sapala there actually wide in the background as well. But everyone's clean through the opening half a lap. Renz there leading the way. Tootie there in second, Furious there in third, but it's Furious down in the mid-pack as Rayan's now looking on the back of Sapala, and there goes Ogween to the inside line. Declan Barrett now on the back, running around the outside, now for the inside line, on that set of hard compounder tyres, through Bank Sabadell at turn number 12, do not often see side-by-side action coming through this part of the track, turn 13 and 14, Declan Barrett just about holding on, but Ogween gets ahead of him, as Enzo and Jaeger are fighting as well.
Matthew Hall had a big tank slapper going through the final corner and managed to hold it only just because lost a bit of time on his teammate, but Lou is too far back to potentially cause any trouble for him at the moment. Furious, actually, he did quite well to leave the space for Tootie because Tootie went for the dive. He was forced into that position because Wiener was all over the back of that Red Bull, but TF10 Tootie really managed that so well, and he needed to do so because, of course, in overtaking Furious, he's now matching strategy with Renz.
Liam Bowman on the back of Ogween. It's getting pretty dicey between Chazoo and NVR in the mid-pack. There's a bit of a box going on here for NVR. And you know what NVR cooking here around the outside line in towards turn number 7. Gets the job done. Nice. Liam Bowman with absolute balls of steel around that corner. Beautiful stuff from the Flying Scotsman. He's through on Declan Barrett as well, potentially here for 9th and 10th position. Luke now on the back. CPI are definitely cooking early on in terms of their overtaking with luck. He's on the outside now, turn number 10, in towards Bank Sabadell now at turn number 12. We'll see if the CPI man can get up the inside line. He's given the room, but don't think he's going to get the move, I don't think. The Mercedes is ahead, coming out of the corner, and the Mercedes remains ahead. Ogween there in 11th, really fighting aggressively with the NVR boys, but Renz leads the way. Tootie there in second, Furious in third, and in the end, Enzo getting very much tight there to the back of Luke. Belby's in trouble, he's back into the pit lane early on. Martin and Thomas side by side running down the straight in towards turn number 1 as well, and here comes the old guard, Tom to the inside line. On the back of the old guard of Tyrell, Martin and Tom is through, and he's into 14th. And Martin's holding everyone up, which I think might suspect potentially he's got a little bit of damage on that car.
Yeah, I feel for Martin there a little bit, actually, because Enzo lost the rear going through the final corner, and he tried his hardest to try and avoid the collision with Enzo, but he's definitely got damage, and that is going to make, what was effectively a really good potential race for TTM very difficult indeed, because Martin being on the hard tyre, he can't switch over and meet to a medium and get to the end of this race. His 2-stop is now confirmed.
Yeah, and there, Tyler's saying in the Martin got orange damage for somebody spinning ahead of him, which is what I assumed might have happened as well. That's why Belby as well might have came in the pit lane as a result, might have got caught up in that. Usain Enzo there as well in 13th. He's on the back of Luke, may have got caught up in that incident with Martin as well. Obviously, stewards will decipher that one if it is reported. Speaking of Enzo, he is on the back of the CPR man of Luke running down in toward the right-hander now of turn number 14. Smokey now on the back of Rayan as well, just ahead in the camera shot on the run now down in towards turn number 1. And here comes Mr. Declan Barrett on the back of Rayan. Is he going to look to the inside line, perhaps on the back in towards turn number 1? Not quite, but there is a mistake from Lou.
Yeah, a mistake from Lou outbraking himself going into turn 1, and that's cost him time and also positions. He's down to 10th.
He is down to 10th position indeed. Liam Bowman there 9th, Lou there down in 10th position. Very similar to what I saw around here in EML. Martin's back in split lane for a set of medium compounder tyres. very similar. Get caught on that outside curb. There's a sausage curb basically on the outside, just on the outside curb, in towards turn number 1. Get caught on that. The car is off centre, basically goes on, and then you have to take to the MotoGP layout coming through turn number 1 and take that penalty, unfortunately, for Lou. And that's exactly what he got awarded with. Pretty much a 3-second stop and go around that little fuddly-duddly section of the track, to be honest. What MotoGP run around here, but Luke there on the back of Ogween. Ogween there in 11th, Luke there in 12th. Renz Thomason, though, leading the way, keeping the gap 0.5 of a second, working very nice indeed on 2D. Gap's just beginning to grow. Furious there in 3rd, Wiener there in 4th, Matthew Hall in 5th, and Matthew Hall and E-Tate are looking very, very good indeed. And look at the gap in behind, because Sapala just barely within DRS range there, 0.9 of a second. Look, he's still within DRS range. 10th later, though, he would have been out of the DRS range, and there would have been a big split in the pack. So Sapala really struggling, and now he is outside pretty much of a second compared to Matthew Hall. Matthew Hall and ETA need to get on with things.
Yossi getting up onto the gravel and manages to hold it ever so slightly. Ends up having to just tuck in behind Marlon. Good racing, actually, between Marlon. Just leaving millimetres of a gap to allow Yossi to get back onto the track. Oh, it's a really well-held tank slapper from Marlon, though, down in 16th. And Yossi can't make the overtake as a result, because the car would have just effectively T-boned him in that one. He stays in 17th as a result of that one. And you know what? Who's in trouble at the moment? I'm going to be perfectly honest with you and say Tudy and Renz are in trouble at the moment, because they cannot shake the hard tyre runner of Furious at the moment, and they're not pulling away. And that strategy relies upon the soft tyre basically able to push away and get away from the hard tyre runners. Otherwise, when Furious, Wiener, Matthew Hall, Sapala go on the medium or the soft tyre, them two are going to be in trouble when it comes to the end of this race here. I don't think Renz and Tudy are on the right strategy here. Furious, Wiener, Matthew Hall, maybe even Sapala as well, I think are definitely in touching distance of getting a solid podium here.
Yeah, definitely so. Also in trouble further down the field, Tyrell Martin. I don't think his front wing got changed. Quite frankly, he came into the pit lane, front wing then got changed again, so I'm assuming he didn't get a change in his first pit stop. That's why he came out just behind Bell Belby. Now he's just behind Bell Belby by the only 27.6 seconds out on track, which is unfortunate, and he's nearly about to get lapped by the whole field as well, which is even worse. TTM having an absolute shocker with him, not having a shocker there. Oh, it's Wiener. Has a huge lag back on the back of Matthew Hall. Not sure if that was a little bit of desync or if that was just individual connection there, but Wiener there in 4th, Matthew Hall in 5th. It's a good job he wasn't a 10th closer, because Matthew Hall would have been in the back of Wiener and there would have been an incident there.
No, with that kind of lag spike here, ET8 will say switch it. They've got to get Matthew Hall in front of Wiener. If that lag spike is a thing, oh, he's lagging again on my screen at the moment as well here. It might be just because it's Xbox to PS. But I think here, if Wiener is currently struggling, I think they'd be wise to get Matthew Hall in front of Wiener and try and put the pressure on Furious at the moment, because Furious is able to actually put more pressure on the soft tyre runner of Tudy here. And I think there may be an overtake here, potentially a switch. Oh, it's gone wide here through the final corner, has Tudy. So surely Furious to take the opportunity to go for it. He's not actually let himself off of the throttle here, actually, to let Tudy just go away with it. And now Tudy will make the overtake on Renz Thomason, as TF10 will now take the lead of this race. But Furious at the moment, I think actually is just buying his time. He knows he's faster than the two drivers in front of him. Curious, considering ETA, the team who are close proximity with each other, are just able to maintain their own pace. So Furious is not really bothered about ETA behind. He's more bothered about the soft tyre runners, as Matthew Hall now in front of Wiener, as to be expected.
Yeah, definitely so. Matthew Hall there into 4th, Wiener there in 5th. Tudy now getting the move done on Renz for the race lead. Batteries there are on the middle of your screen right now, right down at the bottom. Tudy there, 55% of ERS. Renz has got more, 68% of ERS. He's got DRS as well to try and close in on this straight. 67 as well for Furious. 33 for Matthew Hall, 64 for Wiener. So Wiener, with that lag spike, getting swept up by Matthew Hall. Havite then decided to do the right thing with Wiener in behind and that ERS in behind as well. You can gain ERS quite a lot, actually, around this track, if I'm not mistaken. Something like 15% on average you can gain in terms of the ERS around here per lap. Tom is on the back of Look, however, now looking for this P12 position. See what I did there on the run there down in towards turn number 1. Tom is going to make it look very, very simple. It's like taking candy from an Alpine baby running down the straight. And also taking candy from a baby is Jaeger on the back of Enzo in towards turn number 1. Jaeger to the inside line. Mistake there by Luke. Just about avoids. Wow, good move there from Luke, I've got to say, to avoid that. He could have easily rejoined on track, 3 wide, and there would have been an incident there. fair play to Luke. He realised what was happening behind him. Jaeger getting the move done there on Enzo. Jaeger through into 13, Enzo in 14. Really good spatial awareness there from the CPI man.
Oh, absolutely astonishing spatial awareness there, because he was in his blind spot was Jaeger, but Jaeger decided to send it up the inside and overtake Enzo and Luke to make a double overtake for 13th place. It was bold, actually, from the BRT man, a bit of a risk, but he ends up making the move and actually earns big time with that 13th place, and now might begin a little bit of pressure to try and get into the Shazoo. Oh, he's not really connecting the front end, though, at the moment, is Jaeger, so he's struggling out there. And I tell you who's not making inroads at the moment, actually stuck in a bit of a DRS train, is actually the Novus team in 8th and 9th. They're not able to make any inroads, but a mistake from Rayan actually going through the final corner. Is that going to allow Smokey a potential overtake? He's not using overtake, and the reason why is because he's actually hemorrhaging time, because he's used so much of the electrical energy in the RBPT power unit in the back of that Alpha Tauri. So actually, would it be wise for Novus to consider switching their drivers and getting Liam Bowman in front of Declan, I wonder?
Yeah, maybe so. I think Liam Bowman is looking quicker than Smokey. Smokey's looking quicker than Rayan, though, and Rayan is probably going to get told off now by the MBR boys, because they're going to have to try and get the move on. Yossi, by the way, through on Luke down in towards turn number 1 as well, so he's through into 15th position now in the point scoring position out on track. The two drivers that I did say, by the way, watch out for in this race, 15th and 17th right now, so it's not looking that good. Yossi and Marlon down in 15th and 17th. 2D there leading the way, Ren's in 2nd, Furious there in 3rd. Pretty much the first third's distance nearly completed here in Spain. Hope you're enjoying the stream. If you are, like, comment, subscribe, check that notification bell, of course, if you're brand new to the channel. And, of course, more action to come with Console Tier 1 on Friday, and then PC as well on Monday as well. We'll run you through the calendars at the end of the stream. 2D there leading the way, though. Ren's in 2nd. Looks like the hards are now beginning to come into play. I normally have lifespan around here of around about 10 laps, so the soft compounded tyres are going to be going off the cliff now. From around about this point in the race, Ren's there coming out of the slipstream on 2D, and definitely doesn't want this move. Somebody that does, though, Smokey to the inside line. On turn number 1, Rayan fighting very hard indeed. In towards turn number 1, and Declan Barrett stalled 2nd of that, because he's thinking, if you want to fight that aggressively, my friend, I'm going to try and do you in another part of the track. And it could be down in towards turn number 3 now. Rayan is under pressure. Will the pressure now crack for the EPL man, or will Declan Barrett show why he means business and why he wants this move on for P7? But at the minute, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, everyone's just sort of tucking into the DRS train and letting things fall at the moment, but Furious is actually beginning to struggle a little bit with the front end. He's just sliding through corners, and to turn 3, he just broke into the corner, turned the wheel, and he was just going straight on. So I'm wondering here if he's starting to struggle a little bit with the dirty end. If he is, he's actually going to be tearing his front tyres to bits. If I were Furious here, I'd start considering making some inroads on these soft tyre runners. These hard tyres are clearly faster than the softs at the moment, and for every lap that he's tucked in behind the soft tyre runners, he's actually losing out now in the strategy call here. If I were Furious now, I'd seriously consider making an overtake on Thomason if he can. Oh, it's just scrubbing out wide, actually, was Thomason, and had to get off of the throttle. But again, just electing not to put too much pressure, Furious, on the front runners. Is Thomason going to make the move on to now, tuck in behind and stay in P2?
Yeah, potentially so. Sapala as well looking on the back of Wiener. Wiener's made a big mistake there through turn number 1. And now Sapala the Finn, who hunted for a podium last night in PSGL PSF1, in the end finished down in 8th position on track. Might be 9th with Ren's penalty. Sapala there in 6th. Now on the back of Wiener looking for the move. The NLR man cannot find the way through, though, at this stage of the race. Enzo in the pressure as well. Further down the field, in there in P13, he's got Jaeger and Yossi and Luke and Marlon to contend with, then Belby. Francis, by the way, didn't realise that he came into the pit lane. He's on a set of medium compound tyres. Obviously wants to try and get a big undercut. Obviously going for a 2-stop strategy as well. And we'll come on to strategies very soon indeed around this track. But Tudu there leading the way, Ren's in 2nd. If I was Ren's Thomason right now, F7R would be thinking, right, this is the time to go. Lap 11 out of 33. If we want to try and get a one-stop working, I think Ren's time now is to get this move, because he's got Furious on the back of him. Coming to the final corner, oh, it's a bit wide there through turn 13 was Ren's. I think he's going to have to go for the move. Here comes Furious as well. On the back in towards turn number 1. Ren's has got to do this. Furious is going to follow him through. It's going to be a 2 for 1. Down in towards turn number 1. Furious there to the inside line. Gets the job done. He's doing the 2nd. More crucially, though, Ren's Thomason through, and he's into the race lead. And honestly, he needed that, because 2D was not really going to go anywhere. And Ren's now need to try and put 2D under pressure, because the pit stops for a set of softs are coming up very soon.
Yeah, Furious has done wise actually to get past Judy now though and actually get himself up into second place. If he can just stick on the back of Thomason now and just use that sort of traction, I would imagine Judy's now going to start struggling with the actual mechanical grip out there at the moment. He'll stay within touching distance thanks to DRS, but Matthew Hall, putting a car between him and Matthew Hall is going to be only a benefit because of course that gap is going to be sort of gaining and gaining because the soft tyre runner is going to struggle. Oh, it's gone wide actually as Judy, and he's now received a warning for track extension here. Is Matthew going to go for the dive? He has to. It goes down the inside line and he'll cut Judy up. Matthew needed to do that one, and ET8 have got a driver in there, and now Furious is going to consider, do I need to now overtake Res Thomason and put a car between me and Matthew here because he's on a rampage. Here we go.
That was cold from Matthew Hall. That was cynical, I've got to say, from the 88 man. There goes 2D out wide again. There might be another track limits penalty coming in there potentially as well, but at least a warning. And here comes Wiener now on the back in towards turn number 1. And actually, 2D's going for the move actually on Matthew Hall in towards turn number 1. Now they get hammer and tongs. 2D gives him the elbow. Wiener's going to get the double switch back on the outside line through turn number 3. Wiener's around the outside line. Oh, he looks big after this one. Wiener on the outside line now in towards the right-hand return number 4. Brilliant stuff by Wiener. That is move of the season here in Legacy Division. Matthew Hall around the outside line. 2D's just been cooked by ET8. Ren's in the lead. Furious in second. Wiener there in third. My word. He's definitely got a big one after that.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely well crafted by ET8 to get the double overtake on Judy, but Wiener switchback going through 2 and around the outside of both his teammate and Judy to get that done. Absolutely massive cojones alongside Wiener for that one. Brilliant stuff, to say the least, on that one. Oh, Judy's hemorrhaging positions and time around the outside. Sipala will go. He'll have the inside in the next corner. Surely this move is done and dusted. TF10 have got a box there, man. No, collision with Rayen, no. Rayen makes the move as well. Smokey will also go down the inside line. TF10 have got a box there, boy, now, and they've done exactly that.
And 2D's into the pit lane, cuts the inside line of the Apex coming into the pit lane. No 3-second penalty picked up, which is good for him. Here comes Furious for the race lead on the back of Renz. We're going to miss it, though. And there is Furious into the race lead on the back of Renz, in towards turn number 1. Ren's there in second. 2D now set a medium compounder tyres on the car. Rayen and Smokey are getting pretty much caught in each other through turns 1 and 2 as well. This race has just opened up, and now Liam Bowman to the inside line, in towards turn number 3. The Wiener's move was good. Liam Bowman's might be even better. This time on the inside line of Rayen, in toward the right-hander now, turn number 4. In toward the left-hander now, in towards Sayat at turn number 5. He's got the car ahead. Beautiful stuff by Liam Bowman, the Flying Scotsman. Very good indeed. He's into 7th. By the way, I will say Matthew Hall's move was cynical on the back of 2D. That was just pure cynicalness from the Wiener to get round the outside, double switchback around the outside of a corner, not on the inside, around the outside. Wiener there in third. Fantastic move from him. Definitely one of the moves of Legacy Division this season, if not Legacy Division of all time.
Something me and you have been complaining about season after season is that the drivers are not working with each other, the teams are not working with each other in order to make sure that they are having the cohesive relationship between the drivers is a significant problem. And this is what we see with the likes of F7R, Yozzy in 12th, Res Thomason on the alternate strategy up in second. But look at what ETA and Novus Racing are doing at the moment. That's exactly what we've been begging the drivers and the teams to do, and they've been working with each other so well, have ETA and Novus Racing. They're hugging each other in 3rd and 4th and 6th and 7th respectively. Lou makes an overtake on Rayen for 8th, by the way. Pit stops coming in thick and fast. Enzo matching his teammate now on that medium tyre, as Tudine will make the overtakes to go up to 14th on the medium tyre. He's looking quick on the medium tyre, but is he going to make all the time that he lost on the softs on lap number 13?
Well, he hasn't got his teammate to welcome into the battle either, because Enzo's 3.5 seconds behind. Team TF10 are going to be down to 1 driver, and that's 2D. And he's going to have to fend for himself, I'm afraid, because Enzo, I'm not going to say he's quicker than 2D out on track. He probably isn't here tonight. 2D has to do this by himself. Team TF10 have to split the strategies and then do it by themselves as well. Belby, by the way, and TOL Martin are having a battle down the straight in towards turn number 1. Down in towards P19 and 20. Not the final point scoring position, unfortunately, here in Legacy Division. But it is Belby 3 and he's into 19. On the back of T-Rail Martin, TTM's driver there. Down in 20th, there was a yellow flag, and that is for Frankus, who was fun coming through turn number 5. He's been off in the gravel. He's got caught in that outside curve, but Ren's crucially into the pit lane. 2D crucially coming through Bank Sabadell at turn number 12. This is going to be close.
Yeah, it's going to be a critical set of laps now. It's a critical set of laps for Tudy. Would have ideally wanted to go for fastest lap here and try and put himself in a position. If this is fastest lap here, I think he's going to come out in front of
He'll be
Rens
ahead.
Thomas, and it's not fastest lap. We'll see though, but he is going to be in front then of the McLaren. It's going to be close going on exit. It's critical, but TF10 have got the jump on Thomason. Is he going to go for the dive into one? It'd be unwise to do so, and he stays down in 14th place. Exactly what TF10 Tudy needed to stay in front of Rens Thomason. The question is, where is he going to be versus the hard tyre runners who are looking really quick out there at the moment? Furious could have really done with putting a gap between him and Rens Thomason on the soft tyre. He couldn't do so, so now he's going to have to contend with Wiener, who is looking so quick for ETA. They're having a great race tonight. Belby fastest lap of the race on the hard tyre, by the way, with 3 laps on there. So the hard tyre, clearly the tyre to be on tonight.
Avatar mentioned a very good point as well, actually, in the chat. It's too early to pit for a set of hards for a set of mediums. I think that. I really do think that in terms of the strategy. We should see more drivers coming into the pit lane. Here comes Ryan into the pit lane for EPL. I think they're going out there, sticking out there in a set of hards, maybe to go onto a set of soft compound tyres. That's me being pretty hard in terms of the strategy. Wiener goes for the move on Furious, gets the job done in towards turn 1 on the mini-map. Marlon there into the pit lane for a set of medium compound tyres on that car. We'll cut back to the raised lead because Matthew Hall's over the back of Furious. Furious now under pressure, and we rolled on board with this right at the perfect time because Matthew Hall to the inside line gets Furious. Furious is furious with that one as Matthew Hall, as soon as he's into second, Furious there down into third. TTM Manster sticks in behind. So the whole compound tyres will be thinking about coming in, but I agree with Avatar to a certain extent. I think it's too early, certainly from 2D and Render's perspective. Let Enzo, Luke, as well as Rayen and Jaeger. Rayen not so much, Marlon not so much, but everyone else, as Rayen's lost connection, hope he can get back in. Everyone else, I think, has put it in a little bit too early, which will be concerning because we know how good the tyres are around this track, especially if you're on a set of mediums.
Mediums will go the distance, I think, only just, though, if you're pitting right now. So Rayan and Marlon would have been in a really good position. I think Judy might be a bit at risk. Thomason might be okay. As there goes the first person of the hard tyre runners. Wiener is in. Furious would be wise here to make the overtake, actually, on Matthew Hall. But the issue is Matthew's going to have DRS off his teammate. And very well crafted, by the way, by ETA. Exactly what they needed to do. And it's exactly what we've been calling for week after week after week. Work with your teammate and you'll see a great results. ETA have needed that. They've managed to get Furious, who has been leading this race pretty much from start to finish on the hard tyres. And now the ETA boys are now going to be able to manage the race respectively. But Furious has got to be very, very careful because he's going to end up finding himself in the same position, only now with Novus Racing. Smokey is gaining rapidly.
Smokey is gaining rapidly. Enzo and Luke are gaining rapidly as well. Look at where they came out in this battle. They're behind Jaeger. There is into the pit lane. That is him retiring in the pit lane. Unfortunate for him. Ryan is back into the session. Here comes CPI's man of Luke to the inside line on Enzo and towards turn number 4. Not getting the job done through there, my friend. The CPI man, Jaeger there, has left the session. Hopefully that doesn't cause any issues in terms of lag or anything like that. Matthew Hall there lead the way. Furious there in second. Smokey there in third. Ryan is back in the session. The session is on invite only, by the way, so he can get into the session. Wiener there in 10th. Sapolo there in 11th. Not looking too bad at all, but we should see Furious and Matthew Hall in, as Liam Bowman has stayed out. Smokey's in. Ogwin in! Oh, and Furious nearly goes into the back there of the man ahead of him, which is Matthew Hall into the pit lane.
I think Furious, actually a little bit of a bold call from TTM to actually follow the rest of the drivers. If I were him, I'd have said do what he doesn't do and go on the inverse strategy. But it's going to be a set of medium tyres now to the end of this race. Oh, he's been held up ever so slightly on my screen here. Has the TTM Furious, but he's going to come out just behind Matthew Hall here. Here comes the people switching positions. Actually, one of the Ferraris of Sipala coming across the line, actually, to potentially overtake Wiener in this one. And he's done exactly that. So Sipala stays in front of Wiener, Enzo and Matthew Hall. So actually, those on the undercutting strategy from the soft to the mediums have worked an absolute treat, but will those mediums go the distance? Res Thomason leading from the front, Yossi on the inverse strategy, staying on the hard tyres, 11 seconds in front, Tom up in second, then Liam Bowen leading this race, but of course he's on the inverse strategy.
Marlon, there's a bit of a slight lag back, I think, just in front of him. He gets caught on the grass, gets caught on the gravel on the outside, has to take avoiding action because everyone was going so slow in front of him. Marlon's in strife. Just when I was about to say, when you were going to come back to me, Marlon is looking good. He's getting into this race. Now he isn't. Now Lou is on the back of Luke, though, around the outside line, in towards turn number 10. Got to have balls of steel around the outside of here. They're leading each other slightly, the CPI man. Then 11th Lou there in 12th. Marlon there dropping further down the field. Liam Bowman and Tom, though, into the pit lane. Yossi, if I know him pretty well around this track, he'll be going for a set of soft compounder tyres. He's bound to be going on that set of softs.
Absolutely going for softs at the end of this race here, which means he's going to have to go at least another 5 or 6 laps, I would suspect, to be comfortable on a set of softs at the end of this race here. But he needs to do what exactly Rens Thomason is not doing and go on the inverse strategy and then see if the soft tyres will last versus the mediums. But the thing is that I think the tyre to be on at the moment is the hards. Vettel Belby's currently got the fastest lap of this race on the hard tyre, and no one is able to compete with each other at the moment. As Matthew Hall and Enzo getting into a little bit of a battle. This is for P6, by the way, and actually losing a lot of ERS at the moment, down to 5%. He goes for the dive going into the corner with Matthew Hall, and that move is going to be well and truly done. And Dustin, I suspect, using overtake, they're clashing wheels going into the next corner, but the inside line is going to benefit Matthew Hall, and he gets the position up to 6th.
Enzo couldn't really do anything about that. The gap was there. Matthew Hall saw a gap. If car, see gap, go for it. Matthew Hall into 6th. Enzo there in 7th. Furious there in 8th. Beautifully judged by Matthew Hall. But there goes Enzo to the inside line. On the back of him, in towards turn number 10. Matthew Hall runs out wide as a result. But look at this. 1.3 seconds now. Wiener and Sapala are breaking away. They're off the back of Renton Tudi. It's Renton Tudi for the race lead, it seems. Wiener and Sapala went behind, but everyone else on the set of mediums, Furious, Matthew Hall, Lou, Smokey, I'm looking at them immediately. They're the ones that's going to be making ground in this race. Here comes Sapala for Wiener, down in towards turn number 1, into turn number 1 he goes. He's into 3rd. Furious is flying on the back of Matthew Hall. And there goes Enzo to the inside line, and Matthew Hall as well. They're still leaning on each other side by side. The TF10 man Y coming across the AstroTurf now. Around the outside. Just about gets through, okay. Matthew Hall, Enzo, Lou, Smokey. I don't know where this race is going, to be honest. Renz leads the way. Tudi in 2nd. Watch out for Smokey, though. Smokey right on the back of these. Could get both of them down in towards turn number 5. Inside line for him. Can he find the move? Not quite. It's getting aggressive. Please keep it clean.
Matthew Hall going down the inside line. I'll try and tick over as we try and keep what's happening here. Liam Bowman and Matthew Hall going into collision. Matthew Hall on the gravel. He's going to lose another position to Luke as he gets a switchback, though, going up at the right-hander, and he will be able to hold on, but he's used up so much of his ERS in that battle at the moment that he's now going to be in a real sticky scenario around the outside. Luke will not be able to hold on, though, I suspect, as they continue going side by side here, as they continue battling towards the front. Liam Bowman handling really well here to try and get past Enzo. Enzo is holding on for dear life at the moment. He's got no electrical energy left in the back of that RBPT power unit in that Red Bull, as Frankis gets a 3-second time penalty. That's the first of the time penalties in this race, by the way, as Liam Bowman gets his move done to match alongside his teammate. Wiener now managed to make the move on Sipala.
Wow, look at the closing speed.
Has got overspeed going into 1, as here comes then Liam Bowman, who's going to have overspeed, and their teammates working a treat for Novus Racing, 6th and 7th.
That overspeed, honestly, it's as almost if being fired out one of Elon Musk's rocket there. Liam Bowman, Thuney's into 7th, Lou there in 8th, Enzo there in 9th. Tarlis is about as much as confused as I am in the chat, to be honest. I don't know what's going on. You guys at home don't know what's going on. That's what makes Lexi Division really good, as Frankus there is retired into the pit lane. Disappointing from his perspective. Rayen and Luke are side by side. Luke there force off track by Rayen. Might be a force off track there from EPL. That might get investigated by the stewards if that is deemed to be necessary. As Matthew Hall there on the back of Enzo. These two have been joined at the hip, super glued together like sticking a hand on super glue on a desk in school. Matthew Hall to the inside line on turn number 10, gets the job done, and Enzo cannot find that one through. Enzo will have the DRS though on the back, running down the straight. Sapala all of a sudden getting into this. Renz leads the way, Tudi in 2nd, Wiener and Sapala, Furious, Smokey, everyone else basically on a fresh set of medium compound tyre are what to watch out for in this race. Rens Thomason leading the way, 2.1 seconds. We've got 11 laps to go. Liam Bowman and Smokey swapping positions for 6th and 7th. Rens leads the way. Oh. I don't think for long, though.
Judy is really struggling at the moment on these tyres as they have to try and look away from the Alpine there of Luke, who's tried to get out of the way there, and it looks like he's not ghosted at the moment, so he's going to be a real blockade for some people.
And
Judy getting caught up. Here comes Sapala Double overtake around the outside line. What a move for P2 as Judy gets stuck by Wiener. Wiener's actually giving the positions up at the moment like they're going out of fashion. He's down to 4th now as a result of that one there. I think he was just trying to give the position back up to Judy maybe in this one. I'm not sure, but Sapala getting the double overtake now up to 2nd place for NLR. Exactly what NLR need at the moment. But TTM Furious now getting onto the back of these two here. Wiener goes for a dive down the inside line, but it's a switchback opportunity for Judy, who tries to get the inside line, but he hasn't got the power, and he then relegates himself down to 4th, and Furious now on the brink potentially of a podium as a result of this one. He needs to keep it close, and I'm sure Tess at the moment is going to be telling him to keep calm, keep nice and cool, and nice and easy.
Marlon's crash out of the race as well. Safety car! Safety car deployed on lap 24 out of 33. Enzo in, Tom in, Luke in. Half the field, though, have missed the pit lane. Even 3/4 of the field, I should say, have missed the pit lane. Belbelby and T.O.L. Martin will be in. But Marlon's crash out, that's coming through turn number 11, the left-handed kink, before Bang Sabadell at the end of that middle sector. That's where he spun. Obviously had a moment, I think, just before that. He's lost it by himself, I think, unfortunately. Marlon out of the race. Safety car deployed out on track. Means everyone can get onto a set of soft compound tyres. My God, whatever this race is going to be in the next 8 laps or so, we're in for an absolute wild and wacky ride. Renz leads the way. Sapala 2nd, Wiener there in 3rd. Just coming back to that Wiener and Tootie moment, actually. What I think happened there, I think Wiener and Tootie might have made a mistake, or Wiener may have made contact with Tootie coming through turn number 3 and thought, right, I'm going to let Tootie get through. Tootie there, back ahead of him. Wiener there in 4th. Wiener now ahead of Tootie, as you can see on your screens. But I think there might have been a little bit of contact, which is why I think Wiener dropped back, let Sapala go, let Tootie go, and then got the overtake done cleanly. That's what I think happened anyways.
Very, very curious here. By the way, while this is all happening, guess who's now welcoming himself back into this race? TRL Martin. This safety car is exactly what he's been dying for at this point. He's just got to hope now that people follow him into the pit lane behind him, and by behind him, I mean, of course, in front of him. Renz Thomason is coming in, Sapala coming in, Wiener coming in, Tudie's coming in, Furious coming in. Everyone is in, so no risk whatsoever of him being lapped, which of course will cause him some problems. Onto the soft tyre then, and he will be at the back of the grid, and he will finally be able to get into this race here, and we'll be able to see what the OG of the esports world has got of him here, as now I think people are going to get stuck in the pits here, you'd have to wonder here. So it's going to be interesting to see what the final result is as everyone leaves the pit lane. Sipala leaving the pit lane in 2nd, Wiener will be in 3rd, Shudi in 4th, William Bowman up in 5th, Lou will get out in front of Furious, who is now in 7th, Ogween in 8th, Matthew Hall in 9th, and Rayan rounding out the top 10.
And actually, Enzo in this is going to get ahead of Rayan, may even get ahead of Matthew Holland towards turn 1, and do you know what? He is!
Illegal.
No, it's illegal. Yeah, you're right. Enzo there in 10th. He may as well try as he must. You never know with the game these days. Might just give you the position. Tom and Smokey are exactly the same as well. In behind, Tom ahead of Smokey. And Declan Barrett with that double stack, as Rizzo mentioned in the chat. He's there down in 13th position now. Declan Barrett going to be one to watch out for. Yossi there down in 15th as well. Belbelby into the pit lane. Martin into the pit lane as well on that fresh set of soft compound of tyres. Renz Thomason leading the way. If only qualifying turned into the race for Renz Thomason. Renz leading the way. Sapala 2nd, Wiener there in 3rd. I said for the win. Did I mention who I wanted for the win?
You did mention Renz Thomason as your winner, I think, in this one at the moment. But he is flying out there now with the soft tyre. But the question is what is everyone else going to be like now? We've got everyone on exactly the same tyre. Arguably, the hard tyre and the medium tyre have basically been the race tyre to be on. But with now everyone on the supposed stickiest tyre out there, the question is who's going to be able to make it last. I'm actually curious, though, more than anything, about the the situation as regards Liam Bowman, because now he is the lead driver, and him and Smokey are so far apart. And this is the first time that now Novus have now got to manage their own races as separate drivers, and ET8 are in a similar situation as well, with Matthew down in 9th and Wiener in 3rd. So we've got to look at the situations as regards to the drivers out there at the moment. I believe, if I'm right in saying, McLaren, Ferrari, Aston, Red Bull, Alfa Tauri, Alfa Romeo, Williams, Mercedes. So the top 8 are all from different teams. That is extraordinary this far into this race, to say the least. More people making pit stops, by the way. Luke and Yossi coming in for another set of soft tyres, by the way. Another thing to make note, by the way, if you're curious about why I just immediately shouted illegal on Enzo when he tried to go for the dive on Matthew Hall, the safety car line at the end of the pit lane exit is the point for which you can make an overtake if someone is leaving the pit lane. The moment that that person leaving the pit lane crosses it, they are in that position. That is it. They are in that position for the safety car period. And to be fair to Enzo, he did try and go for the dive going into turn one, but of course, safety car line one is just before turn one. He tried to find it, he couldn't find it, and he will stay in 10th.
Jamie mentioned in the chat, by the way, Crashgate for P5 in the standings. No, not the case. Marlon had a mistake coming through turn number 5. This corner they're going through actually right now. He made a mistake coming through there. I think it was side by side, if I'm not mistaken, with Yossi in that. He got forced out wide, got caught in the gravel as a result of that. And then about half a lap later, he crashed coming through turn number 11 all by himself. You can probably have a look at that on your streams. Probably have a look at that from Marlon's POV if he uploads it a little bit later on as well. I have a feeling it's that. If it is anything else, then it really defeats the object of what a team event is and whether or not teams are actually colluding with each other or whatever the case. But I don't think that. I personally think it was just Marlon just losing it by himself. Safety car deployed out on track. Renz leads the way, Sapala second, Wiener in third.
In fairness, though, Marlon actually lost it at that same corner earlier on. The safety car is now in at the end of this lap because Martin has clawed back all that time he needs to be at the back of the queue. And in fairness to Martin, actually, he was really plodding on with it. So he wants to get on with it now. He's at the back of this queue and everyone on the same tyre. I would expect now TTM have got Martin at the back that earns some big points. Of course, remember, the top 15 will earn points in this race tonight. So keep an eye out on that one as Renz Thomason will just keep it nice and cool, nice and easy. He'll determine when he wants to go because he's the de facto safety car. If it were what would be wise, he'd leave it as late as he possibly can here, as we've got more people getting really up close and personal with the rear ends here of what is the worst case of Formula Centipede. But here we go again with the lights now green, and we go green again here in Spain, and Tudy and Bowman immediately getting on the blocks.
They are getting on the blocks indeed. Liam Bowman through and he's into fourth. Tudy there in fifth. Wiener there on the back of Sapalo and towards turn number 1 as well. And that was a collision, I think, between Wiener and Liam Bowman, if I'm not mistaken. Losing a bit of time. Belby's down the back of the field. Matthew Hall and Ogwiener side by side as well. Coming through turn number 3, but I think everyone's clean through in the front part of the field anyways. Renz leads the way. Sapala second, Wiener third. Liam Bowman fourth, then Tudy, Lou, Furious now to the inside line. On the outside line, in towards turn number 5, right around the outside. Can he get the job done? Of course he can. Up at TTM, coming through turn number 5. Beautiful stuff from Furious. He's through and he's into 6th. Lou is going to be absolutely outdone by that one. Not only has he been outdone by a former BRT man, but he's also been outdone by a driver that is much clearer of him in the standings in WR Console Tier 1 anyways. Furious needs into 6th. Lou, though, now under pressure from Matthew Hall. Furious around the outside of Tudy. Tudy now side by side in towards Bank Sabadell at turn number 12. Furious now looks to the outside line. Will he have the traction on the outside of the corner? Not quite. The Red Bull just ahead. Tudy there remains in 5th.
He's got some pickup on the right tyre as well as Furious, but that's not stopping him at all. He wants to get this move done on Tudy. Tudy is hemorrhaging time and he's trying to find the space. He'll go around the outside then of turn 1 as Liam Bowman is actually curiously giving a nice little toe to Tudy in order to try and keep this DRS train from actually, from dispersing before the DRS is actually enabled. Furious then, always a little bit of a mistake from Tudy actually going through turn 3. Furious is very keen to get this move done. He's going to have to go for the move down the inside line right now, though, if he wants to get it done. Otherwise, he's going to be stuck, I think, and he will be stuck in 6th place.
Smokey and Tom are having a really good battle through the first sector there. Tom gets ahead of Smokey, just about keeps him. Smokey again looking to the inside line there on the back of Tom. These guys have no love lost from Las Vegas and WR Console Tier 1 where they collided earlier on in the season. But Smokey there in 13th, Tom there in 12th. Tom remains there for that position right now. Renz leads the way. Sapala there in 2nd. Wiener there in 3rd. Liam Bowman 4th. Then Tudy, Furious, Lou, Matthew Hall, Ogween, Enzo. Enzo better swap positions maybe. On the back of Ogween in towards turn number 10. Around the outside he goes. On the outside line, can't find the way through in towards Bank Sabadell, turn number 12. Then it's Rayan, Tom, Smokey, Yossi 14th, Luke 15th. They're the point scorers at the minute. Martin in 16th, and Belby coming into the pit lane in the back in 17th position. Renz leading the way. Sapala second, Wiener there in 3rd. 5 laps to go here in Spain. Buckle up, you're in for one big, wild and wacky ride as Furious again looks on the back of Tudy.
Yeah, DRS now enabled though, so the drivers are now going to have the opportunity to make some overtakes, but the DRS train may begin to form, and Furious again going really close to the inside line, and Chudy struggling a little bit on the outside line and getting some pickup on the front right tyre once again. Belby fastest lap of this race at the moment. Of course, he's 17 seconds back after that spin out though earlier on in this stint here. Rens Thomason able to hold on, but will the DRS begin to become a problem, I wonder, and will NLR be on for potentially a cracking race victory, I wonder?
Yeah, safety car certainly saved. I think NLR, obviously with Sapala there in second. He personally can't keep up though with Rens Thomason. Rens leading the way, 0.5 of a second. DRS will be enabled next lap, so this will be DRS enabled from turn 9 onwards on the next lap. So Rens has got to try and figure out whether or not he's going to try and push us into them further down the field. Yossi and Smokey colliding with each other through turn number 10. Martin just about avoided that. He's now into 14th. Yossi there in 15th. Smokey there in 16th. Not sure what happened with that incident, but Ren's there leading the way. Sapala there in second. Wiener there in third. Liam Bowman there in fourth. Here comes the Flying Scotsman, the locomotive, back in full action, down in towards turn number 1. Looking on the back of him in towards turn number 1. Not quite close enough. Wiener was very close though to the back of Sapala, just ahead.
Liam Bowman looking to try and get a little bit precarious now, potentially with Wiener, who's going to have to go for the inside line then of the next corner if he wants to make the move, otherwise he'll stick back here. The top four have already formed a little bit of a barrier between them at the moment, as Chudy is actually holding Furious back, infuriating for Furious at the moment. He will want to try and get past Chudy ASAP, because I think the TTM man has got the right to claim a podium here. He just needs to get past that Red Bull, who is a little bit off the pace of the front four at the moment, you'd have to argue.
Yeah, calling it now, I think Rens leads the way, but I don't think he's going to be there for that long. Sapala there in second. I'm looking at the man in third right now. Mr. Wiener himself. We saw what the movie pulled off around the outside of two drivers earlier on in the race. We know what he's capable of. He's got 60% of ERS. Sapala's got 67. Rens has got 76. So Rens, actually, in terms of ERS, has got more. Liam Bowman on 59 and 2D on 43. So Rens has got more than the guys behind, which is really crucial for him, really crucial for F7R in terms of that race win potentially on course. So Sapala there, under pressure now from Wiener. Here comes Wiener on the outside line. And do you know what? Is he going to try it again? Not quite, but he is going to get boxed in towards turn number 1. He's got to be careful, and he is careful. Sapala there in second, Wiener there in third. Really nicely played. Doesn't want to get involved in that battle. And now we progress on to the final 2.5 laps of this race. Rens leading, Sapala second, Wiener there in third. Judging by Liam Bowman's mistake there through turn number 3, I think the front three have got it between themselves. I'm very tempted to say.
Well managed, actually, from Wiener, but the more that he does that, the more time he's going to lose to Liam Bowman. Actually invite Liam Bowman back into this battle here. Novus Racing, by the way, really could do with the podium here. Try and get 4 podiums in a row as it stands so far, off the back of 2 wins, of course. One at France and then the other one at China during round 8. So they really need to push on and try their hardest here to try and keep up with this podium run, because, of course, I think his teammate Smokey well out of contention for even points as it stands at the moment. So Liam Bowman needs to keep on with this performance. ETA, Matthew Hall needs to get a shift on here, because at the moment they're 110 points back in the standings after a really bad run of form. If they can get Matthew Hall into around 5th, maybe try and get in there, 88 might be on to claw back the points and get themselves back in the title hunt, with Rens Thomason though in first, taking the full 40 points as it stands though. That will be a bit of a heartbreaker for Matthew Hall if he can't make the inroads, and he's going to have to look for it by going around the outside of turn 1. But once again, BRT Lou, textbook defended, stays in 7th. Oh, here comes Ogween, who welcomes himself into this battle here. Matthew Hall was looking for the move, and in the end he's actually going to lose a position as a result. Sector 3 yellow flags wave for Belby, who goes for a half spin. Switch back, well taken from Matthew Hall, but he's going to have to tuck in behind, and Matthew Hall at one point looking for the dive. He looks straight, but he's not going to find the position. Shizu Ogween, great job there to get into 8th. Great job.
Yeah, really good defensive driving there from Ogween Shizu, really showing out how it's done, keeping the positions behind from Matthew Hall, keeping Enzo behind, keeping Rayen behind as well. Rens leads the way. 36% of ERS, Sapala 48. That 12% is going to be the difference between Sapala and Rens potentially winning. Matthew Hall on the back of Ogween as well, coming through the left-hand of turn number 10, trying to force the inside line. He does, and Ogween's now back behind him. Matthew Hall through, he's into 8th position, but we'll turn our attentions onto the final 4.5 kilometres of this race. Rens leads the way. Sapala there in second. Sapala was ruined there in PSGL PSF1 last night in France. Is he going to go for the race win here? Here he goes on the outside line in towards turn 1. That extra EOS, really crucial. Renz sticks at the inside line and Renz defends the position and Zapata makes a mistake and Renz Thomason now perhaps handed this race on a silver platter. Wiener there in second, Zapata there in third. Liam Bowman's off in towards the potential the Portuguese border, in towards turn number 3 there, round the outside and towards turn number 4, just about rejoins track. Zapata there lap back behind Wiener. Wiener second, Zapata third. Renz now leads the way. Renz is on for the race win as it stands. 5-second penalty for Matthew Hall for corner cutting again in position. That might get removed. Rayen is side by side with Enzo further down the field as well. But Renz Thomason in towards the right-hander now of turn number 9. I'm going to get animated in terms of commentary. These guys are going to get animated. Here comes Liam Bowman on the back of Zapala, maybe for the podium. The impossibility, the Flying Scotsman goes around the outside of Zapala. Now on the outside line for turn number 12. He can't manage the move, and Zapala there in third. It's going to be a drag race to the line between them both. But Renz now coming through the final corner. The Dutchman is going to do it for F7R. F7R's first podium since round number 4. Renz Thomason on the run to the line. Wins in Spain. Wiener in second. Zapala hangs on for third for NLI in the end. Liam Bowman would have wanted that straight to be longer, as would have Tootie, as would have Furious with that result in sixth. Martin and Matthew Hall dropping down the field of result of penalties. Martin will get that penalty, will get that position though, down in 14th position I think in the end. But Renz Thomason does it. Wiener second, Zapala there in third. And chat, you may as well just call me Mr. James.
Great effort that from Renz Thomason to take the victory, though, from Wiener. From Zapala would be unfortunate. He'd be disappointed, I think, with third, actually, for NLR, but it's exactly what NLR need at the moment, especially off of the back of the fact they've only got 2 podiums this season, so they've got a first and a second, and they can now add a third to their standings as well. Yeah, Matthew Hall and Ogween were battling really difficult, really hard in that fight there, and I think he did force Ogween off at the end of the second straight and ended up forcing him completely off of the circuit. So Ogween perhaps just returned the favour, I wonder. We'll see what the stewards have got to say about that one. But what a performance indeed, and what a podium it will be. But Renz Thomason managed that really well, especially on that final lap. He was completely out of ERS going into turn 1. That dive was absolutely perfectly crafted. That ended up forcing, actually, Zapala into a little bit of a mistake, which allowed Wiener to get second place. And ET8 is their championship now back underway, I wonder?
Potentially so, potentially so. I'm just going to try and tag all 3 in the chat. I can't find Zapala for some reason, which is not that good. There he is. I was putting Zapala instead of M Zapala. But anyways, top 3, we'll hopefully get interviews with them very soon indeed, but it is Renz Thomason at the top step of the podium, even though there's a Ferrari in the middle of that podium. I don't know why. Renz Thomason, though, takes the race win out on track. Wiener there in second, Zapala there in third, 1.1 seconds covering the top 3 at the end of that race. Liam Bowman there in fourth, Tootie there in fifth, Furious there in sixth. What was that pole position? Gone completely for TCM. Good race nonetheless, though, from him. Lou there in 7th, Ogween there in 8th, Enzo in 9th, and Tom rounding off the top 10. Yossi in 11th. We'll, of course, have a look at that penalty later on with an incident early on in the race. Luke there in 12th, Rayen 13th, Matthew Hall 14th, Smokey 15th, Belby 16th, gets the fastest lap of the race. Martin will go into P14, however. Marlon, Frankus and Jaeger all DNFing at various points in the race. We had one safety car in that race, caused by Marlon sprinting by himself, coming through turn number 11, which is very unfortunate indeed. But in the end, NLR's loss is F7R's gain.
I mean, I'm absolutely gobsmacked by that result, actually, to be honest with you, because I think that definitely opens up the championship a little bit, because Yazoo had an absolute stinker. Novus, could only get one driver into the top 5, and F7R, again, exactly the same thing. Yossi, to be fair, in that final stint after the safety car, did good to get himself back up to 11th, but I'm more curious about what's going to happen with ET8, because, that situation with Matthew Hall and Ogween, they were battling really hard, and of course that 5-second penalty, if that doesn't get rescinded, ET8 are going to lose out big time in what was actually a really, really good race for the team. So it's going to be a question of what ifs for them. But NLR, fantastic. They needed that. That's the 3rd podium of the season. 1st, 2nd. Now they've got 3rd. They need to get some more on the case here for them. And a question for TTM as well of what could have been. I think they really could have been in for some big points tonight, and they've only managed to get 6th.
Definitely so. Sapalo, I think, is done in terms of that race. I know it's quite late over there in Finland, if I'm not mistaken, so I don't think will be joining us. Wiener, however, will. Renz Thomason hasn't got back to me yet, so Renz is going to keep us absolutely on tenterhooks. As will we, however, with the calendar going forward as well, because round 10 after Easter, in fact, Easter Tuesday it will be next week, if that's even a thing. It is Italy though next week, and because it's Italy, it is not Imola. It's not any other Italian track than Monza. We are there, of course, round 10 of the championship. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how we get on that on track. Then we've got the break week and the second transfer window. And then it's Miami, Australia. The to be confirmed track, my weekly protest of Portugal being put in the calendar there in round 13. Britain round 14, and then Austria round number 15 of the championship. Italian Grand Prix up next week, though, Jota. Gonna be an interesting one. It's Monza. It's gonna be fast and furious. It's called the Temple of Speed for a reason. And I'm just gonna say a speedy driver is gonna win next week.
Yeah, Speedy Gonzalez in the absolute temple of speed. I'm looking forward to seeing what people have got going through Ascari when they've got basically 0-0 wings. We'll see what people are going to bring to the table for that one. But I'm also going to be keeping a very, very firm eye, not just on the temple of speed, because of course we have got an extensive calendar which goes beyond into Miami after the week break. Australia, of course, the last of the sprint races that season. Of course, round 13 is going to be a complete mystery, where of course you're going to be hoping for the sister track just next door to Spain in Portugal, which then leads on to Britain and then Austria, which always brings a fascinating affair as well. So the next 5 after Italy is always going to be an absolute blinder, but I'm certainly looking forward to what the Temple of Speed is going to bring if Spain has got anything to go by. That was a fantastic qualifying and a fantastic race.
Yeah, definitely. So, Wiener complaining about Enzo complaining about him. It's all kicking off as usual in the Discord, certainly in the chat. Crispy mentioned some good points actually about what I think is going on in terms of the football. I'm not sure what the score is at the minute between England and Belgium at least, but we'll have a look at that in a second. Random mechanical failures that would add more entertainment, and that is fair. I'm not in disagreement, I've got to be honest for that, but the safety car adds so much entertainment. We only got one safety car in terms of that race, and in the end, that one safety car brought us Marlon crashing out of the session, and then a whole host of drivers down in towards turn number 1, fighting out for the position, but in the end, really, really good. Ren's saying to us he's not going to join us, he's going to take a champagne and drink. Is he old enough to drink?
I'm not even sure about that one, but I know that at the moment they all deserve a really solid drink after that one, because that was so difficult out there. But you know what? The drivers have done the best they can in what has been a really, really intense Spanish Grand Prix. I'm looking forward, to seeing the ramifications of what has been, I think, a very intense safety car period. People still claiming that the NLR, purposely caused a safety car. I have absolutely no idea why NLR would purposely cause a safety car, because arguably Sepala was on the better medium tyre versus everyone else. So why would NLR harm their own chances at a race victory? It doesn't make any sense. And to be fair as well, Marlon was struggling through turn 5 anyway. He made a mistake earlier on in the race as well. So it's characteristic of him to, unfortunately, in that particular race, end up making the mistake. So, it's an unfortunate set of events that led to the safety car, but everyone was on the soft, and it's all about that sort of performance from Rens Thomas, and he managed that, from the front so well to try and take that race victory, especially going into turn 1 on that final lap. He could have lost everything, but he did it very well indeed, and F7R needed that as well, especially. We'll see what the standings look like as and when they actually get updated, but in the interim, if you're going to talk about driver of the day performances, I would have easily put it on the likes of Wiener, because he was ruthless out there tonight.
I agree. I think Wiener definitely is deserving a driver of the day. He should be joining us very, very shortly indeed. Marlon, by the way, just to quote this from his perspective in Discord, Yossi spun me and then I had hot tyres and wasn't really concentrating anymore, but of course it was on purpose from me. So that's obviously biting back at the critics that are saying that he caused that safety car, which he didn't. You can read into that however you want. He didn't cause that safety car. Have a look on the minimap. I'm sure he'll upload his POV for the benefit of everyone that is trying to pursue a fake narrative, I've got to be honest, in terms of that late safety car. And in the case of NLR, I will back them every single way, because that wasn't a safety car caused by them. It was just Marlon losing it by himself. His concentration is gone. When that mentality goes, you're gone with it as well. And that's the end of the day. It can happen to anybody. It can happen to us as commentators. It can happen to you guys as viewers. It can happen to these guys out on track. Happens to the best of us. Marlon needs to learn just to come back, be better, try and not make the mistakes and basically learn. And that's what every single driver is going to have to do every single week. Learn from their mistakes. And if they learn from their mistakes, we're going to get best action here in Legacy Division and indeed, hopefully, throughout the entirety of sim racing.
I'm just keeping. I'm having a quick word with Tez actually from TTM as well. I'm just saying that from TTM's point of view, it's going to be a question of what ifs again. But there's a lot of positives for TTM this race, and I think that's something that they haven't really had a while, have they? As well, watching a really good race from Monaco turned out to be a pretty disappointing race here. Good qualifying for TTM. They've got a lot of positives to learn from this one, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they've got later in the races. I do believe that we've got Wiener joining us and then leaving in this one, so hopefully Wiener can join us and we can have a quick chat with him ahead of this one, as there is a lot of chat happening in the paddock chat at the moment.
There is a lot indeed. I was trying to get him in on Discord. My Discord is lagging so bad, by the way. So Wiener has just gone and then left, and hopefully he'll come back again. He is waiting, unless we go in the waiting room and then join him in there.
Maybe we'll have to see on this one here, as hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get him in here at this point. Let's see if we can drag him in. As we do drag him in, and he just leaves immediately once again. So I think he is on PlayStation, isn't he?
Yeah, so we're going to have to join the waiting room, which will probably be a lot better. If he sees us in there, hopefully he'll join back. Let's have a try. I'll meet you in there in like a second. Right, hopefully this will work. There we go. That is me in the waiting room. And then we can drag Mr. Jota in, just like that. And then hopefully, there we go. Like clockwork that was. Mr. Wiener, are you here? I hope he is, anyways.
and after all of that, it doesn't even
hear me now?
Oh, there we are, loud and clear.
Oh, nice.
There he is. ET8 Wiener, my word. What a race from your perspective. P2 out on track in the end. Took every chance that you had out on track. Congratulations on that P2. First of all, let's just talk about that 3 wide moment and that double switchback that you performed on, not only on your teammate, but on another driver as well.
Yeah, it was quite unexpected because I've seen it quite lately that someone was trying to overtake me, and I've told my teammate Matthew too late that they had to use. So he was using, everyone was using. I just took it safe, trying to not get damaged, and then was a very nice switchback there. And I think it was the place for P2 or P3. I don't remember it.
I think it was for P2 in the end. I think it was for P2.
Yeah. It was a nice move.
It was a nice move. I was absolutely reaping the reward. There might have been a slight, pun used when I was pulling off that move. But anyways, I will let that go. But P2 out on track. You, obviously, with that safety car, you got a little bit lucky with, obviously, Ren's ahead of you as well in terms of that. But talk us through that, because really, really good from your perspective, and you get our drive of the day as well, which I think is really key.
Thank you. But I'm honest with you, James. I think I would have catched Renz, because I was catching him like 2 tenths or 3 tenths per lap, and we still had like 9 or 8 laps for racing. But in the end, it's part of racing to have like a safety kind of race, and I'm not mad about this. Fair play to F7R and Red. He had great pace overall, and P2 is still a great place to be.
Yeah, P2 is still a great place to be. Obviously, you try to pull off the move, I think, in towards turn number 1 on the final lap of the race. Renz, I don't know how, he was just too late on the brakes. He got you done through the inside of turn number 1. Sapala made that mistake, and then you were right on the front foot with Sapala's mistake for that P2, and obviously that battle going through the first sector. So talk us through that, and talk us through that final lap from your perspective.
I was actually in the penultimate corner. I thought it's over, and I was focusing on the Bowman. But I saw that Mr. Pala was flashing, so I had a little bit of hope, and was using all of the slipstream possible. Close before the braking zone, I saw that he's going very on the inside of Renz and Renz 2. So I tried to make the corner as wide as possible, just like the move on my teammate and the other guy, I don't know, the double switchback, and it worked out. It worked quite out really well, and that's P2 in the last stop. I'll take that. So,
And it's a crucial point as well for ET8 because ET8, let's just be honest, they had a very good lead earlier on in the season. Now fourth in the standings coming into tonight. It's going to be one of those things where you've got a really good result for ET8. Matthew Hall not so much further down the field, but hopefully everything will just add up in the end. I'm going to come across to Jota. Any questions?
Yeah, I'm curious actually about the sort of team aspect of it now, of course, because I think Matthew had his sort of work cut out with your performance actually in regard to the internal sort of battle with ET8. So, obviously the safety car period, meant that you two weren't going to be hugging each other throughout the race as a result. Talk us through the situation with Matthew then, because he obviously had a lot of work behind him and ended up losing out big time. This is, as much as it's a good result for you, ETA have lost out big time, haven't they, as a result of this? Because you two should have been on for big points for the team.
Yeah, sadly, some people were trying some very, very dumb moves on the first corner, and yet Matthew is a very, very nice teammate to have. He's a team player. He's a very good team player. I love to be his teammate for this race, and I hope to be his teammate for the future races too. And yeah, of course, the safety car fucked us over a bit. And yeah, the stupid moves on, I think the TF10 guy was, but the stewards will sort it out later on. So in the end, he finished P9. I think it's a damage limitation after what happened in the race. And yeah, in time, I think everyone is happy for after the results. Sadly, the P9 is a little bit like, it's not great, but also not worse after what happened in the race. So I think we can take a lot of positives for the race. Good teamwork overall, especially I think against 2D in the middle of the race. So yeah.
I think a final question really before we sort of wrap it up here is that I'm curious to sort of understand the team's sort of perspective on you as a driver, because I think they've really tried to push obviously the run for the lone drivers, but you've possessed a real pace within the team now. So what is the long-term goal now for yourself with ET8? Are you wanting to get on the front field and be racing more within the rest of this world season, because you've obviously showed you've got the pace for ET8, especially considering the situation, you've ended up falling out of form as a team. So are you wanting to push the foot, to be the main driver, be the front driver, to try and get ET8 season back on track to potentially be, looking for the title that I think you guys were looking for at the beginning of the season?
So I think, I don't know how to explain it correctly, but I think I don't really care if I'll drive all races, because we are on a team and we only win as a team or lose as a team. So I think one driver won't win the championship, and I think if we win the championship, it should the whole team do it, not only one driver. And of course, I'd like to race all races, but I've also got school, and it's quite stressful and stuff like that. I'm also playing hockey, so it's also a bit stressful, I have to say. But yeah, overall, my pace has been quite improving lately, and I just hope to get I hope to get not into incidents like Brazil or the last races for PSGL, because I knew I had the pace, and I was quite upset because I couldn't show it. And yeah, I'm just happy to show everyone that I've got the pace to be on the front and fight for wins. And yeah, that's probably it.
Oh, quite a humble response, I think, from Wiener there as well. James, back to you.
Yeah, and hopefully with his hockey that he's playing as well, hopefully he can use a double switchback on the hockey pitch a little bit later on as well. That is all from us in terms of questions. Go and enjoy evening, Wiener.
Thank you, you guys too. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Will do indeed. Thank you so much to Wiener for joining us. I don't think we've got anybody waiting. I was going to say waiting in the waiting room, but we are in the waiting room. Nobody else. In the waiting room. Yeah, nobody else is here with us in the waiting room, which is good. unless
waiting.
Yeah, unless somebody joins completely off cuff and then we interview them later on. But we're going to wrap it up here. But of course, a reminder of everything that has to come for WOR going forward as well, including Legacy Division, of course, next week in Italy. Of course, it is round number 10 of the championship. And when it gets to round 10, it gets pretty spicy. It is the Temple of Speed, of course, in Monza next week. Going to look forward to that certainly. We've also got Console Tier 1 action coming up this weekend as well on Friday, on Good Friday. Hopefully it will be a Good Friday for Canada, and it is going to be the Canadian Grand Prix if the race in PSGL is anything to go by. These guys are going to definitely look forward to the action there on console. Then, of course, it's Italy, China, Austria, Miami, and Brazil rounding off the season. And then we have got PC also going on live as well. They did their races, of course, yesterday in Canada. And then they're on their break week. So the likes of Reese Linton and everyone can have a week off. They can get themselves full of chocolate and cream eggs. And then they'll be back in Monza for round number 6. And then it's China, Austria, Miami, and Brazil to round off the season. There, of course, all WR tiers for PC on a Monday, all WR console tiers on a Thursday and Friday. Most of them do get covered on the streams as well. But, Jota, I think I've just been tagged in something. I can only assume it was Jota. It was, Wiener tagging us saying thanks for comms. You're very welcome. You are very welcome indeed. That rounds us up very neatly, though. Final thoughts from you, though, Jota. Coming into next week in Italy, it's going to be a wild one. But, crucially, F7R have got a win on the board.
I think that's the thing. F7R now getting another win on the board. I think they've been desperate for, to keep up with some kind of podium run. So they're going to be happy with that now after their first win, I think, since round 4. So their season potentially back on track. But I'm looking forward to seeing what Italy's got coming up because, of course, Spain and Italy are both a very short lap time, isn't it? So there's very little area for mistake, but if you do make a mistake, it will cost you dearly. So I would expect people are going to be in form and we're going to be in for another cracking qualifying and race.
Yeah, it's going to be really tight in terms of qualifying as well. Of course, it is 18 minutes worth of qualifying once ignore that. Q1, Q2, Q3, as per usual. And then we've got the session, of course, for the 26 laps, I think, that we've got around Monza, if I'm not mistaken. That's going to round us off very neatly indeed for tonight. Really hope you enjoyed the stream. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell, of course, if you are brand new to the channel. Thank you to Mr. Joseph for joining me in the commentary box. Thank you to the cameras for actually trying to get us to work. And thank you to my OBS for not dying over the 2 minutes and 27 hours, 2 hours and 27 minutes even, that we've been live. Penalty shout for England, apparently, as well. With 2 minutes to go, we're going to beat 2-1 as it stands. But we are going to leave it to there. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.